What up? What up? What up? What up?
Yo, yo.
How's it going, brother?
It's going okay, man. I'm going to wait for our guest to come in. And,
Look at that red background.
oh, damn, dude. Red and blue. I like that. The
Oh, that's
red
too funny.
background is for a specific reason I'm going to show you all here in a minute. But
Uh, I thought it
I,
was in memoriam.
no, 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 no. Dark, like I told you over the phone,
Hmm.
um, you already handled it pretty well, from what I understand and from a little bit of the tidbits that I saw. Um, but I'm just going to do like a 3 to 5 minute little caveat and kind of give everybody an understanding on how I feel and what I told you also at the same time. Nothing's negative, and I love you, brother. And so I know you trust me, and I'm not going to be an ass or anything else like that. I just want to wait till our guest is on so he doesn't fucking come on in the middle of
Well, so he's
ranting for
he's
five
on. I
minutes.
could ask him to hang tight while you while
No, no, no.
you.
I want him to be on right with us. I'm gonna be here.
Well, there you go.
All right.
We
I'm
may as
I'm
well.
putting
You
I'm
know.
putting in my earbuds, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Wait,
Can you hear me?
is with the air?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the air gun guy.
Awesome, brother, dude. I've been looking for some new air guns, and I was gonna go PCP route, and I decided I'm gonna go right back to nitro piston. I like the PCPs. Trust me, I do. But I'm kind of looking at like Hot Sun Carnivore 135s and 22 and 25 cal and
That's the
under
one I showed
lever
you.
brake barrels.
That's the one I
Oh, that
showed you,
was.
but I have mine in 30 cal. It's accurate. I mean, it kicks like a bastard. So, I mean, it kicks like in 5 different ways, and after you shoot it, you're like, "What the hell was that?" Like just kind of all over the place. And that'll affect accuracy downrange. But at 30 yards, you can't get a bigger thumper, you know, for a spring gun.
Hell yeah. All right,
Airsoft
gentlemen,
lovers.
I just want to do my own. I want to do my own PSA right now,
All
just
right.
to address everything that happened that I'm not a part of, and I'm not going to deep dive on any of it. But I want to say that I started this off with Dark and Dugan to be able to pass out a solid, good message and to, be able to find bigger channels to be able to get our message passed on more and more. Now, obviously, you guys know what has happened. I had the whole weekend with my family and spending time with my daughter on her birthday and shit. I really don't care what happened during this time frame. Yes, people make mistakes. I've made countless mistakes in my life, and I wasn't forgiven for a lot of them, but I had to move forward and keep on digging and diving. The one thing that kills me is how the community reacted. I was getting text messages and emails telling me delete my contact information. Love you, man, but I can't be associated. I understand that, and I'm not sad about any of that. But I wanted to try to honestly build a community where we can all come together in multiple different states and be able to pass on information or pass on goods between each other and this and that. And shit happens. And I have no problem people calling me a fucking fed. I don't give a fuck. I've been called a narc. I've been called a this. I've been called a that. I don't fucking care. Whatever you want to think, it is what it is. If you don't believe what the message is, then fucking leave. And like I told Dark, this is my 1 week to 2 week notice. If I don't see certain things change in the community, then I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And I will either start something else new somewhere else and try to bring something else to be able to bring this kind of message out to people. But the one thing that really pisses me off, and if you guys truly listen to Dugan's message, he doesn't advocate on talking shit on, as in telling somebody to put a gun in their fucking mouth and killing themselves, or wishing harm on people, or wishing harm in any such way or form. So if that's the type of community you guys want to keep up, I can't be a part of this, and I don't condone that. I have a lot of hate in my heart, and I'm a spiteful fucking asshole when it comes down to things, but I have children and a family, and I understand that people need a chance. So at the end of the day, I'm giving y'all a heads up, like I told Dark, and I even told Dugan, I'm gonna walk away from this shit. If we can't make this into the community that I was trying to bring it into, I can't be a part of it, and I'll go somewhere else, and I will support Dark and whatever he's doing, and I'll help him out whichever way. But I personally can't handle any of this shit. I don't have drama in my life because I kicked everybody out of my life for this kind of shit. And I spend time with my family. I ignore all this bullshit. I don't have any other social media besides the YouTube or besides me being on YouTube and the podcast. So I know we're gonna have trolls. I know all this shit's going to be popping up, and feel free to ask questions. But if you're going to be sour and distract from the message, I will go somewhere else and I'll find some brand new trolls on all this. I if you are truly about the message, then you're going to be here to try to help and support. And I'm just very pissed off on how the community acted. And I have had a few people ask me to ixnay them, and then I've had them reach back out to me and say, dude, I did this prematurely because I followed the crowd and, this and that. And from what I've seen, there's a lot of people giving a lot of context saying that it is what it is. That's my favorite freaking saying. So I love y'all, gentlemen, and I really want to be able to bring something to the forefront in the future to be able to help y'all out. And like I told Dark, I want to be here, but if it keeps on going this certain route, I can't be a part of it because I don't want people having to fucking deal with trolls when we're trying to get out a message. And on the podcast, no problem. We don't have to worry about people commenting. On the YouTube channel, yes, we do. And if we have crazy ass people, I can handle that. I'm not worried about that. But if you poison the chat and you make it where people can't discuss and be open with each other and we can't build a community, this is not what I'm trying to do. And I sure as fact know this is not what Dugan is trying to do. That's why he's deleted multiple channels. And I'm not going to bring up his name. I have no ill will towards him. I love him. I love Dark. And I love everybody that's been on with us. People make fucking bad decisions. Have you seen me when I was drunk during my fucking podcast? And that was with this gentleman over here. Hey, it is what it is. So that's
That
my
was
final
actually
fucking note on it.
that was a
And
different
like I
guest.
said,
Like that was a different guest.
no, I swear
I saw it though.
No, I thought it was him.
It was the
I thought it
Katrina.
was
That just
him when I
shows
was
how drunk
drunk.
you were. It's
Oh,
honestly over the
then I
last two
was drunk
streams.
2 nights.
Honestly, we've had nothing but positivity, man. Um, we're good. Thank you for saying your piece. I appreciate it. And let's roll
All
through.
right. Hey,
Man. We got a lot of good stuff.
before we start up, let me show you why the red light is on. And this is for my children, and I'm so proud because my crazy neighbor's gone. Do you see those little guys?
No shit.
I have chickens.
Hell yeah, man.
And
Living it.
yeah,
I'm
because
jealous.
the crazy neighbor's gone, I can have chickens now. And
Nice,
it's
man.
amazing. My kids got to be able to pick them out today.
CRS is in the house, by the way.
Oh, what's up, CRS?
Yo, what
They
up,
brought me to this
man?
channel.
How you doing, brother?
Nice. What's up, brother? Tell Sugar Tits I said what's up.
All right,
cool.
I'm done with my all my shit. Let's move on and let's dive into this shit, man. I'm interested.
Nice, man. So, if I may, I'm going to go ahead and start. We we were looking at like different ideas, and by the way, the little chicks are adorable. I'm not jealous at all that I have an HOA and can't have chickens. Um, you got possums and raccoons too, yeah. No, so we were looking at different ideas, and comms is something that people had consistently hit me up for, just several different emails, and we want to talk about obviously, when the lights go off, right? But these are things that you can use every single day moving forward, and just your average goy has spent a lot of time behind a radio, but also he spent a lot of time researching things specifically to bring you guys some value. So let's go ahead and jump into it, fellas, and we'll address the chat and comments that come in as we go on.
All right. Well, I do not have a ham radio license. I'm working on that. I wasn't sure if I wanted one or not, just because I'm not a big fan of lists. I don't like it, but when I looked into it, to ease some of your guys' fears, I know there's people like me. Yes, it is a government program that you have to be licensed by the FCC, but it is completely run by volunteers. The people taking your test is. I think the website where you log in your call sign is the only place that the government, like, they just know that you're allowed to be on the radio, and that's it. Now, when they step in is when you break laws. We'll get to that a little bit later. I highly suggest that you do get your license, because the comms are they're not useless, but they're next to useless unless you know how to use them. The book I recommend is the 2018-2022 Technician Class, FCC Element 2 Amateur Radio License Preparation. That's a hell of a title, but it's made by Gordon West, and this is what it looks like. This is the one you want. It's way simpler, and the guy's been in the business for a really long time. It has every answer to the test on here and everything that you need to know. We're not going to get into that today because it's all technical stuff, but a lot of my information I got out of here. So what are we talking about here? Most people, for their first comms, and it's the most versatile comm that you can have, is a dual band handheld transmitter and receiver. Okay, that's what the Baofangs are. They're real cheap. I paid $26 for a charger that comes with the Baofang, a battery, and everything you need to get started. So what I think of these as disposable comms, and they are actually way, way better than like when you just go get the FRS, GMRS radios, like for like $120 in a blister pack or something. That's your Cobras or, Motorola's, that kind of thing. These go way farther. And the reason they go way farther is that they have the ability to transmit in different frequencies. So these ones actually have FRS and GMRS, which the FCC just said, even if you have a ham license, you're not allowed to transmit GMRS on these radios. Horrible criminals still do it, and they don't get caught all the time. I mean, these guys are terrible. But
I know people that are going off-road in the woods, four-wheeling, 4x4ing with these on the GMRS signals, and obviously they're not getting caught because they're not broadcasting from the same location.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the thing is if you're moving, I mean, unless the FCC is like trying to get you because you're pirating radio or you're a terrorist or something like that, you're not going to get caught. no one is going to even hear your GMRS if you're out in, boondocks somewhere, and you're on a convoy. So people do that all the time. Again, they are criminals and should be punished to the full extent of the law. But anyway, so
Come on, man.
these dual band handheld transmitters, they can tune into other ham radio operators. So what that means is, like, because these dual band in this case is UHF and VHF. That's what you can transmit on. But what you can do is you can send your UHF short range to a repeater or a base station, or someone that has like a home set with a bigger antenna and all that, and then they can transfer across the world. Yeah, exactly. They can transfer on HF or something like that, ultra low frequency, whatever. Okay. So you can tune in to other ham radio operators throughout your whole area via repeaters.
Goy, let me stop you just real quick for a quick second. The goddamn bacon, as always, as soon as he shows up, does 223 super chat. Thank you. You didn't miss anything. We literally just got into the conversation about radios and comms, but I wanted to take a second to say, so guys, the goddamn bacon has his own show, and he goes live all the time. If I know we've brought him up a few times, he's going to be on our show within the next week. And if you guys haven't gone and subbed to his channel, then go sub, because we want to support him to increase his viewership. So thank you. Sorry about that, Goy.
Okay, so here's some things these Baofang radios can do right now during what you guys would call rule of law or whatever, while the lights are on, everything's working. Okay, so your keypad you can use to dial up internet radio links. So imagine walking down the street and talking to someone in China, like you basically connect to a local station, and then the internet then takes your signal and sends it to them and spreads out to their location. So these radios can connect to the internet, no problem. That's not going to help you when the grid goes down or whatever, but whatever. It's still something cool. Yeah, you can call home for free, like if you're in Australia, through a radio audio patch network. Okay, so if you don't have money, like let's say it's, because cell phones, long distance doesn't cost anything unless you're calling like Australia or something like that. You can do this for free with these. After you learn your handheld, please consider buying a mobile radio for your vehicle, or which can also be used as a base station or a base station. Now, the mobile radio, the reason why that is so good is because the antennas are like these big magnetic antennas, and they've got the power from the car battery. I think these ones are either 5 watt, or if you get the more expensive Baofang, it's like 8 watt. So you could really up the power, and with radio, power is like everything here.
Yeah, and a question on that real quick before you continue. The standard Baofang, the $20 to $26 Baofang, is the UV5R. So Uniform Victor 5 Romeo. And it's got the little 6 or 8 inch dick antenna, and a lot of people upgrade them to the 13 or 15 inch whips, just to kind of increase the distance. I know the UV5Rs are like these little guys. What's the next step up? I couldn't recall what the model numbers. Do you know?
Hey,
you know what? I don't know.
I was going to say, before you answer the next step, one thing that I noticed a couple months back was the U.S. government putting in place a regulation on these U5R Baofangs and stuff like that coming into the country, so they're not able to repeat or transmit on certain bands. I don't know if that actually went into production, if they're actually doing that, or if they just said, yeah, we're going to do that, and they're still sending completely unlocked equipment. And this was
Hey,
a
real
couple months
quick,
back,
Blue
and
Six,
this was like
you
a
get the
right away thing.
you get the blue light special, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. 762. Sorry.
Okay, so the Baofangs, from what I understand, they said that it's illegal, and Baofang said, yeah, we'll take care of that. And to my knowledge, they didn't. I could be wrong about that. Mine can still transmit GMRS. I don't really know. I heard about that. That's ridiculous to me because
I
you can get a
haven't heard
GMRS at.
anybody say. Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't heard anybody saying that after that ban was put in place that they had any restrictions on any new Baofangs that came into the country. So I'm assuming that they just said, "Yeah, no problem," and they just kept on sending the same stuff.
They might in the future. I know you can still, like when you buy one off Amazon, you're probably buying the old stock anyway. So, and you want to, because I think GMRS is rad, because that's what I feel comfortable transmitting on. Hey, that's what I feel comfortable transmitting on without the ham license, even though it's illegal and all that. No one's going to give you a hard time. When you do get caught up, though, is like when you're in your house and you're using the ham radio anyway without a license. You don't get caught by the government. You get caught by like the boomer that is, oh, I can't believe that guy didn't get his license, and they
I
will
didn't
like
hear a call sign.
yeah, they will get three guys and like triangulate your location and go look for towers, and
Triangulate
they'll get
your location.
dude, they seriously will. They feel like it's their duty to like narc on people. It's crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and you
you
know
are.
what? I don't knock them for that, but at the same time, as long as you're not creating static on the channels and messing with people, I really don't think that should be an issue. But yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. There are the boomers out there and the people that are hardcore, legitimate, like, oh, you need to have a call sign, you need to go through this and that. But at the end of the day, if we're in a state of emergency, you don't require a call sign or anything else.
Yeah.
You can be an amateur mofo as much as you want to be. Just found one on the side of the road, and if you're in a Katrina time frame, you can report to first responders or this or that, and there's no issue whatsoever. So, end of the day, there's only certain people looking at you, and if you're creating a pirate radio station and being an ass and killing airwaves, yeah, then you will end up finally getting like government people looking at you. But be an asshole, and yeah, you'll find the boomers looking at you too.
I have
Yeah,
a
well,
question about that.
go ahead.
I just want to say, TM, thank you, brother, for the 545. I love how all y'all are doing calibers. Thank you. Okay, this is gonna sound crazy. I'm
700
asking
Nitro
for
should be next.
yeah, right. 50 BMG. No, I'm playing.
I'm being
Um,
an ass. I'm sorry.
I
Let's
know.
not focus on the super chats at all, man. Let's get fucking Goy on here and let's get to the point on things. And after the message, we can bring up these gentlemen too. Sorry for you gentlemen, this or that, but this is the way that we need to move forward with this channel, showing that we're trying to get out the message, and then everything after the fact, we can pull into the folds. And I'm pretty sure Dark is on the same page with me, and I don't want Goy to lose his train of thought, especially when I keep on interrupting him.
I
Yeah, I
wrote it
just
all
want to
down.
obviously say thank you
Uh,
as well. Real
oh,
quick
okay.
question though on
I was
that.
gonna say I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
This may sound crazy, and I'm asking for a friend. Um, could someone use a fake call sign?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but
I'm
if you
just saying.
start using like bigger repeaters, so you could use a fake call sign just to kind of when you're radio to radio, and most people aren't gonna check. But if you send it to like a repeater, those guys like know what radio you're calling from, or at least the type, and the radios will identify. And when you give your call sign, what you're actually doing is like letting them know not only that you're allowed to do it, but it kind of like, it doesn't like pop your name up or anything like that. But there's a system there, is all I'm saying. And if you do a call sign that's total like BS or something like that, depending on like the repeater, your local ham radio repeater, probably not. But if you're on like emergency services or something, they're probably going to figure out pretty quick that it's BS. And I don't know exactly, again, I don't have my ham license. Some of these questions, if there's ham operators in here and I get something wrong, forgive me. I'm doing the best I can with about a week's worth of research looking into this stuff, and I'm trying to give the 1,000-foot view on this stuff, but I think I got a lot of good information here. But please correct me if I ever get anything wrong here.
Definitely, dude.
Okay,
And
so
there's one ham operator that I really want to be able to jump into the chat, if he's still with us, and I really hope he is, because he is a long-term old school ham. He's the one that got me that radio right there, and he told me how to find an Elmer. And Elmer is not Elmer Fudd. And Elmer is a gentleman who's been doing ham radio. And if you just find an antenna at somebody's house, go knock at their door. Literally. You're not going to get shot as long as you're not an asshole. But knock on somebody's door if there's not a ham radio operator in your area.
I go to your local ham radio club. They're in every area. And yeah, I guess if you're in Moab or something like that, you might want to knock on someone's door. But
this
I don't know. That
COVID
seems pretty
thing
hacked.
has shut down. No, this COVID thing has shut down even the ham radio operators in my area.
Oh,
so they just do it over ham or whatever their forums are. And I was told, literally, just be legitimate and say, hey, I'm looking for an Elmer. Can you help me out? And you know what? They might be an asshole, but at the end of the day, if you say, I'm trying to get into ham, they might not be willing to help you, but they will pass you on to the next gentleman to help you out. And that's one thing that I found out about the ham community. They are good people.
I was gonna
if one
say
doesn't
that,
want to help you, at least they will tell you about somebody else. And they're called
most
Elmers.
of them will help you.
Elmers are the people that are your mentors.
Boomers that you probably wouldn't want to hang out with, but they've got super knowledge. But okay, so what about like a radio tower, right? Like a repeater. If you wanted to make one yourself, we're gonna get way more into that later. But I just want to say that today's antennas can be very discreet. They can be safely placed in attics, or be stealth hookups to like nearby window screens. Sometimes they can just be wire. We're going to get into all that a lot more later. You don't need a giant antenna to get started. Okay, so that's more for the home base. Like these walkie-talkies, they're everything you need, or these hams, they're everything you need right away. But when we get in later to like more home-based stuff and things that can really reach out there, like what you really want in an emergency situation, we're going to get into that. So stuff you need a radio, charger, and an antenna. That's literally all you need to start. $26. If you get the 8-watt one, which I don't necessarily, I've done everything I need with my 5-watt. The 8-watt is going to reach farther when you turn it up, because power is energy, and it will get a little bit farther. But knowing your radio will get you way farther than boosting the power. Okay, so what else should you get?
Really quick point. No, I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to throw this out there that I have a link for a Baofang UV5R kit that is the same one like you and I mentioned. It's got the Baofang unit, the battery, the plug, like the earpiece, the clip, like the whole shebang. For when I got it, it was literally $20. It was like $19.99. I think it went up to like 21 or 22. But if anyone's interested, shoot me an email and I'll get you the link. It's a great starter.
Question for you. One thing that I noticed when I was trying to, because this unit right here is meant to be inside of a vehicle, not just go off of a standard power supply that plugs into 110. And I tried building using a computer power supply, and I thought I had everything set up. I ended up frying the power supply, but I was told a dipole antenna is your best startup way, and you're basically using coaxial cable. And I have like 400 feet of that shit. And my only issue right now is I'm trying to find a power source to be able to energize this, to be able to make sure I didn't kill this or kill a transistor or something along those lines. But I have
We're
a
gonna
gentleman
get
that
into
can
all that.
refurbish these things for me.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
all right.
gonna
I'm
get
sorry.
we're gonna get into that, but I think the problem you have is if that's from a car, right? That's gonna be 12 volt. That's not gonna be house electricity. That's
Right,
why
it
you
was
fried it.
right, but the computer electronics run on 12 volts, and I saw a whole
Oh,
bunch of DIY to be able to, because it converts
okay.
from 120 or 110 into 12 volt for the PC, and I thought I wired everything properly, and then it fried. But there's a whole bunch of shit out there for ham radio operators to be able to make their own power supplies off of
Oh
these
yeah,
type of
yeah.
units. And I thought I did it right, but I'm hoping I didn't fry my system because it seemed
Can't
like it was the right voltage, like 12.8, which is supposed to be like 13.8 or something.
yeah, can't help you. I don't know what you got or whatever, but yeah, a lot of this is DIY. So, I mean, you'll figure it out. So, the things I recommend you have, get a molly pouch for if you're going to be operating with it. You don't want to be having that stuff in your pocket. One of the things, I don't know if you can see this, these are delicate. Let's see. This screen was broken when I was hunting with my dad, and he just sat down next to the belt buckle. So other radios are going to be way more durable, way more
Yeah.
waterproof, but again, $26, and it still works. So I recommend you get at least 4 radios. We're going to talk about why later, because there is a neat trick that costs almost nothing that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. And get a spare battery. In an emergency, you should have a battery in your pocket and have it on your radio, just to get you that extra time. These last a real long time. It lasts pretty much all day when I'm scanning and stuff like that. But when you transmit, especially at the highest power, you're going to start draining that battery depending on how much you're talking. Okay. Repeater interfaces. Okay. So the repeater interface is what you would use to take, so that's why I said 4 radios, right? Okay, to extend the range of this thing, what you can do is you can put 2 Baofangs together with a repeater interface, which Baofang makes one. It's super cheap. I don't know how much it is, but it's like $10 or something like that. And it plugs into your microphone cable area and plugs into another radio. And so this programs to where you're talking, let's say you're at base camp or whatever, and you have to talk to someone over a hill. Radios are line of sight. They're not going to go over the hill. So what you would do is put these 2 radios with the repeater interface up at the top of the hill on a tree or something like that. And when you talk on one, it goes to that radio and it makes a miniature repeater. And so it talks to one radio and then transmits it to the other one, and then the other one will transmit that, and then you get extra range. So you're basically doubling your range every time you make one of these. And since they're so cheap, I mean, you could get, there's no reason why you couldn't get like 50 of them and daisy chain like all the way to the next town over if you had to do like some kind of option with that. Most likely it's like you're in a hunting camp scenario. You basically keep at the camp the repeater interface. You could even put it in like a Pelican case to keep it waterproof or whatever. And so then you've got people to the south of you, got people to the north of you, and you guys could work a grid, and you normally wouldn't necessarily be able to talk to each other, but since it's bouncing to the base camp and then sending back out, you're doubling your range, at least. Okay, so
I was blown
so
away by
Is
that
that
shit, by the
something
way.
where if you were hanging in if that was something where you were hanging in a tree and putting in the pelican case, and this was to be for a long term, you would have a some type of solar panel to be able to keep the battery charged,
you could.
or would you
That's
have to go
that's
back and replace stuff battery wise?
no, no, you could. The Baofang chargers, they're kind of loose, right? So you would have to fashion something like tape it on, make sure it's not going anywhere. And you'd have to have like a minimal amount of electrical experience or something like that. I never thought of that, but you most certainly could do that. That's possible. Um, so just
I've watched a YouTube channel on a Vietnam vet doing something similar to that manner to be able to extend the range for their Baofangs or even their home transmitters and having something on top of a mountain like Baofang, connected to a solar panel just to be able to transmit on the other side of the mountain,
yes, exactly. And
as a repeater just to be able to help extend.
okay, and then also you could, and these antennas are like $60 or something like that, but you can add an outdoor antenna. Like if it's in a tree or something like that, you can get like a couple omnidirectional Yagi antennas or something like that, and that way you can actually pass DTMF codes or anything like that. You could speak on it or whatever, and it's going to go farther. Like a big antenna on the top of a hill, well, I mean that's way better, and then people can interface with that. And then since it's at the top of the hill, it can go in every direction, and as long as it's not getting broken up, you're good. So what else can you do? Okay, you can plug into GPS, literally. So, like, let's say you were going on a hunting mission, right? You had to kill this deer, but it was in treacherous areas. Let's say you're hiking in the snow and you're worried about crevasses or something like that. So you give Dark your radio position, your code. This is on the computer, and you can relay your position to ham satellites. They have amateur ham satellites that are free to access, or mountaintop digital repeaters, and they will find your every move and give that location. Give it to your daughter when she goes camping, or your son, or something like that. Tell them to keep it on them in case of emergency. Unless you're in an area where you just cannot, like inside a ravine or something like that, you're going to be good. So fellow operators can track your every move, and you know, just let your buddy know where you're at. I could imagine there's some tactical reasons that you can do that with too. So you can plug your Baofang into a color video sender to show others what you're seeing. So let's say you're getting intelligence on something, or even hunting or whatever. You can let someone see what you're seeing, and it's not that big. It's a camera, and it plugs into your Baofang, and they can actually see like color TV what you're doing. So you can plug it into let's see, never mind. You can talk thousands of miles away by bouncing 6-meter band signals off the ionosphere. Okay, that's pretty incredible. Now that's with ham signals, and we'll talk a little bit more about, like, right now I'm using GMRS, and so there's better ways to do GMRS than with ham. If you have a ham antenna, it will work with GMRS, but not as good. Antennas are tuned to the frequency you use the most, and there are some antennas that will do multiple different things, but it's like anything, when you're big game hunting, a 308 could do it, and a 308 can kill a whole bunch of other stuff as
Yep.
well, but it's not going to be perfect for each one. Okay. Now we'll
Hey,
talk about what
Goy,
you can. Yep.
I don't mean to interrupt. I actually see something viable in the actual chat. How do you keep your comms secure? And I just want to answer it just for a quick tidbit. If it's over GMS radio and the standard ham side, there's nothing secure. You need to get on some type of digital encrypted bandwidth, which they do have those out there. They're going to cost you more money, and they will not just bounce and repeat off of Baofangs like what was being talked about. But I've looked into that also, and anybody
Right, and
else
the
who
people
has the
you're trying to
question
hide
on
from are going to be able to get into it anyway. Like all that does is block
exactly,
your neighbor
and
from
on
hearing you.
top of it, if they're trying right, and on top of it, if you're looking for encryption, it doesn't matter because if there's an invading force or even a hostile force, native or foreign, um, a simple jammer will kill all cell phone and any type of radio frequency because it just broad spectrum hits everything under the sun and creates so much static and distortion where you can't use your phone and you can't use your ham radio or your FRS radio. So there's nothing around that other than just a solid copper line running from one place to another. So I just
Yeah, and
wanted
I'm going
to
to talk.
ixnay
Yeah.
those things.
Okay, so now we're going to talk ham radios just kind of in general, and then I'm going to go through the Baofang itself, and I'm going to try and blast through that because it's a little bit boring, but it's like I'm going to show you how to use this radio. So with your tech class license, which is just the basic license, it allows you to use all UHF and VHF bands. In the summer and fall, because of what you're talking about with the sun and like it's difficult, they open up 6-meter band signals for tech class. You can also gain long range skyway privileges on a portion of 10-meter, 15-meter, 40-meter, and 80-meter, and this is going to be like your home base stations and things like that. Now you can also set up 2-meter with a home ham station and bounce signals off the moon. And like you can talk all the way across like over half of the earth by doing that. And that's just with your signal. You're not using a repeater. You can like talk to somebody like there's a couple second lag or something like that. Now you can also send digital streams of information off meteor trails. Like it's that
Wait, you're
crazy. Like if
shitting. Wait, hold on. You're literally saying I know about bouncing off the moon. You're saying you can actually bounce info off of meteor trails too?
Yeah, if you know where they're at, and they've got apps on the computer for that. When they tell you when there's a meteor storm coming in, you can literally bounce signals off that shit.
We got an app for that.
Yeah, we got an app for that. Okay, so you can talk across the country.
I know about the I'm sorry for interrupting.
As soon as
I
we
know
get
about
one,
bouncing off the ionosphere.
N1663R. As soon as we secure one, I will. Now you're making me think that you're gonna like send us like dog poop in a bag or something. I don't trust it. Hey, and Blue Sticks, brother, that was way excessive. And thank you. We love you.
About my polyester shirt? No, no. I
Yeah, it looks like
genuinely
you're
know
gonna
about
go out and play
bouncing
around the
off
golf.
I know genuinely about bouncing off the ionosphere, and I've also heard about bouncing off of the moon. Goy, I don't know. Have you ever listened to Art Bell?
I used to listen to him when we went hunting like every year with my dad.
And he's a big ham radio operator, or when he was still alive, he was. And that's how I got a lot of the information that I've learned about bouncing stuff off the ionosphere and off the moon and all these other crazy things to be able to pass around a signal around the world. And I just literally have never heard anything of bouncing off of meteorite trails and stuff like that. That is amazing in my opinion, man. I'm sorry for interrupting. It just
A
knocked
lot
my
of these
socks off
guys,
hearing that.
a lot of these guys, especially back in the day when they were just trying to like propagate their signal any way they could, they came up with some hack stuff. And like the government, they didn't come up with all this stuff. It was amateurs that came up with a superior way of sending signals. It's like, the government steals information from amateurs to operate their stuff. Like, yeah, they've got cool stuff, but these guys just do it for a job. They go to school and that's it. These guys, like, it's like, who's the best computer tech? Is it the guy that works for Best Buy, or is it the dork that just loves it and writes his own code and stuff like that? The sky is the limit with these things. And there is like a way that you can have purely private encrypted internet packets that you send, and I don't even know that it can be like taken from by the government at this point, because the amateur area is so advanced. There's things that are cutting edge and amateur is what I'm saying. But so you can talk across the country.
I don't mean. I'm so sorry to interrupt. When you were saying there's things that amateurs have done that may be too cutting edge, there's one thing, and this goes back to me listening to Art Bell and conspiracy theories and stuff like that from old days. But there's something that we have. I want to say we developed it in like early 1900s, maybe 1920, 1930, of a transmitter that still and literally still cannot be hacked on the transmission that's being sent from one location to another. I don't think it was like audio broadcast. I would think it was more um like telegraph, SOS, Morse code kind of stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But it's still one technology that dates back to years and years and years ago that literally still cannot be hacked, and they still can't find a way to hack it to this day. And this is one of our deadfall communications with the government when it comes down to it. And I forget the name of the system, but it was simple enough for them to create it by an amateur radio maker back in the day, and nobody's been able to best it since then or improve upon it. But it's still super encrypted and unhackable. And I wish I would have realized we were going to be talking about or getting into a subject like this, because I would have found the data to bring up to you. And have you heard of what I'm talking about?
No, but I believe it. Nikolai Tesla was messing with some stuff that is just incredible. I don't know what you're talking about, but it does not surprise me. Amateur is always on the cutting edge. It's never falling behind the government. It depends on how much money you've got and how much brains you got.
Yep.
One way to get your radios to go a lot farther is they have a program again on the internet, or you can just know the times. Like, you can print this out and know the times that when the amateur satellites are passing over, and like as soon as they hit like Guam, you can start doing it. And it works for almost like half the hemisphere. If you've got a line of sight to this thing and you've got a strong enough signal, you can send it to that, and then it can bounce down. You can go all the way around to the other side of the world, even though there's not line of sight, by using that and then having that send down to a particular repeater, and then have that repeater send it across the world. Now, you can also talk to astronauts on the ISS. I think they're maybe in low atmosphere and maybe space is fake, but I'm retarded. So
What?
I don't believe in. I don't know. I don't think NASA tells us the truth about stuff.
No.
Yeah, you can with your Baofang. You can talk to the ISS when they fly over. Yeah, they've got a ham station on there. So
Yes, I've actually seen videos and recordings of that, and it was really interesting. I'm like, no way.
Yeah. Okay, so computers,
I'm
ham
trying to
radio.
find that that transmission source that I was talking about.
Okay. So hams have access to hundreds of wireless frequencies to send high-speed information packets over the airwaves, error-free through the internet. So emails, like free emails, digital slow scan color photos. You could take a picture of your daughter and send it, to your uncle that has a ham or whatever. And then there's ATV. That's live television all over the state that you're in. You can literally, like, if you wanted to, let's say YouTube fell out and you guys still wanted to get your message out using ham radio, you can do some old school, like, UHF television channels that'll come on at 3 in the morning with people that still have an antenna for their TV. I don't know how many people still have that, but there you go. You can talk halfway around the world with VoI or VoIP, voice over internet protocol, using IRLP and Echolink. We'll just move on from there. Use a computer to download all frequencies to your handheld radio memory circuits. This is a program called Chirp. I highly recommend you do this. So we can get more into it later, but basically your radio is limited to what channels and frequencies you have programmed into it. I highly suggest your local sheriff's department, your local police department, the repeater that's closest to you that you want to use. You should map out all repeaters in your state if you're using these as like an emergency thing. And we'll get into like how you can do that later. It's easier than you think. So disasters, like, this is where ham radios shine. Ham radios become a public service. Ham radios are often the first to handle emergency calls. Now, this is for first responders, whatever, because like when there's hurricanes, tornadoes, or any major disaster, even an EMP, if you put your radios in a trash can lined with some cardboard or something like that, a metal trash can, they'll survive the EMP. And then once the EMP is over, you might be the only one with comms. But anyway, civilian and emergency responders are often the first people to send calls. Like, imagine in a huge hurricane or some huge lights out scenario, all your neighbors are going to want to tell people on the other side of the country, their family, that they're safe. You can probably barter with some of that, or just be nice and, let them know, which is probably what I would do. Yeah, it's literally like when everything goes down, hams are it. And the Katrina guy was talking a little bit about how they got into it, but see, he was starting from zero. He was like, okay, well now, like, what do we do? And he got with someone that knew kind of what they were doing. And just imagine if you had your own ability to do that, how useful that would be. So that gets into, you wanting to have your own energy, like at least a generator, but most likely, you're going to want solar panels or something that's going to keep your radios going. FCC ruled that you don't need to know Morse code, but some of the HF bands still require Morse code, and they go really far. And Morse code sends farther and clearer than voice. It can be a good thing to know. Okay.
Yeah,
So we
because
talked
it's
about
a short signal sending out.
what's a short signal sending out?
I didn't catch all that.
Morse code. Morse code. I think we have a delay in our transmissions, but Morse code is a shortened signal being sent out versus a like a data signal, so it's easier to transmit further than an audio signal. Correct?
Yeah, you can
Boyd?
put you could put 10 minutes of speaking into like half of a minute of Morse code, because it's not someone listening to it that's going to hear it. You can have a computer go, and the computer will like know everything that you just said. So yeah, it can be much shorter, and
And I
that really
know,
helps out.
and I know with over ham radios and stuff, you can send basically faxes and pictures through I forget what the term is called, but it basically sounds like a old school dial up internet signal, and you just have to have something on the other end to interpret and then print it out or show it in a computer screen, and you can see a picture, words, documents, stuff like that, and you can do that right off of a blip off of your ham radio, your Baofang, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blue Sticks actually has a great question, because I know we've seen some things like this, but are there any viable radios that you can crank or spin that provide enough energy to be practical? Like,
Maybe.
yeah,
I kind of doubt it, because the radios are, I mean, if it had a big enough capacitor and the right wirings, I don't see why not. But what's more likely is that you get like a little solar panel from Amazon and charge your battery and then use it when you've got the battery. A lot of this needs to be constant power. So, I mean, I don't know, and I think that'd be a pretty big radio. I wouldn't get one.
your forearms would be like stacked by cranking. And I haven't pushed the UV5R to the limit with battery. Have you ever run one dry on battery before?
I got one that's dead right now, charging right now. So I do that all the time. I scan, because I have two of them. I scan, the local sheriff's department and my local police, and it's like on all day. And then I get to hear it first, like if something's going down. I live in a kind of a slow, sleepy town, so usually there's nothing much. And the police talk in codes. The dispatchers like, talking in code. So a lot of time you don't know what's going on until you like kind of learn like their lingo and whatnot. But when coronavirus was going on, I live in California, so they taped up all the parks and don't let you stay at the parks. And there's cameras all around the park. So I'd go there and let my kid play, and I'd have my radio on me. And then when I hear the dispatcher say, "Hey, we got people at the park. We need you to come and like tell them to leave or give them a ticket or whatever," I let her play for another 3 minutes and head out. Go for a walk. And then when they leave, I let her play again. So
Nice. Stick it to the man.
In
Bacon.
Florida, we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And
Bacon.
I'm
So
looking
now,
up the there's like a delay. I don't know what it is, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to find what I was talking about earlier on the old school analog tech that literally is still unhackable to this day. I can't find any information on it. All I can find is all new Google searches. And, if you guys want to call BS on what I'm saying, go for it. I'm not worried about it. But end of the
I'll
day,
take a look.
there is literally an old school tech, basically like Tesla tech. And it wasn't developed by Tesla, it was developed by somebody else. And legitimately, it was like World War One, World War Two technology where it is still like the dead man communication, where if everything else fails, everything else dies. You can't jam it, you can't freaking if you hear it, you can't decode it. And this was before like encryption and everything. It's simple but very, very weird and awkward on how it works on the fundamentals. And if I would have known I would ever get into this kind of conversation, I would have freaking had links and stuff like that for everybody. I have a lot of awesome information that I've learned years and years ago that you just can't find anymore nowadays. and it used to be on the internet, and you used to be able to find stuff, but no conspiracy theory needed. All you need to know is they don't want people to know about certain things. So all you need to know about is the things that you can buy and purchase, and things that generate ad revenue for other companies, this and that. So I feel like an ass anytime I bring up something that I know is true and I actually research and I can't find it.
Well, speaking of some research, Goy, before you continue, we have some fans of the show that tend to research our other live streams. And we have a question. Rich said, how much for Light to eat another pickle on live stream?
1 second, gentlemen.
Oh, no, please. Oh, Rich, why'd you do that?
So I'm about to get into like how to actually operate these Baofangs, and I'm gonna have to just like literally smash through this because there's so many different things.
Smash it in the crevice.
But so now's the time to answer questions or something. Yeah.
I'm gonna mute Light while
I'll shut my mouth and I won't interrupt you.
Oh no, it's a big one.
But yeah, if anyone has any questions, or if you guys wanted to talk about something, now's the time, and I'm gonna just smash through the operation of this this thing. And Dark, you can play with your radio while I'm talking about it to see what I'm talking about. Now this is gonna be the part of the show. This is gonna be the part of the show where people are gonna want to go back to when they get their Baofang and listen to everything I'm saying and set your radio the way that I'm talking about. Now, I highly, highly suggest that when you're doing all these settings, what I'm saying is going to be the same whether you're using Chirp or the radio. You can manually program this radio. It's a pain. Please use Chirp. But what I'm saying is going to be the same for Chirp. The difference with Chirp is you're on a computer and you're changing all this stuff, and then you just plug something into the radio and it does everything I'm talking about. So that's how I would suggest doing it. But, you know, I did it manually at first, just Chirp wasn't working for me, and I still haven't used Chirp. I just set it up manually just to know how to operate the radio in case of emergency.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through and literally manually program mine to like the local stations and get on the same frequencies as my brother and family, sister, cousin, nephews, uncles, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So before we get into how the thing works, so dual band, what these are is 2 meter and 70 centimeter. A note for the Baofang, it uses a different SMA connection for the antenna than most other ham radios. So if you get an antenna, just make sure that you get one that's for Baofang. Okay, you guys ready?
Ready.
All right, now the monitor button, if you push it once, a light shines. It's just a light, like a little LED light in case you need a light. You press it twice, it'll do a flashing light. I guess that's for letting people know emergencies or something. There you go. If you hit the call button, an FM channel turns on, and that's programmable. You can change the FM station. So that'd be like if you want to have a weather station on FM or something like that, you could do that. Okay, the keypad with the numbers. There's a menu button on there, and that's the manual control of the radio if you're not using Chirp. You hit the menu button, and then it goes through all the different actions. The up and down arrow button is what you use inside the menu to operate the different sections. Okay. Exit is a primary function in the menu. That's how you get out of what you're doing there. Okay. The numerical keypad is input, basically. This is where you can put in your actual frequencies and stuff. And then the secondary functions, which are I think in blue, let me see here. Yeah, they're in blue. Like number 3 would say save, 2 is TXP, etc. Okay. Those are all secondary functions that you'll have to figure out later. But to use it, Uh, okay, hold on. Okay, scan. We're just going to learn how to do scan. To use scan, you hold it down for a couple seconds to scan through programmable channels. Now, those are if you already programmed channels into your radio. What this would be used for is like if you didn't do your research, if you didn't find out what your local sheriff's department is or whatever, you can literally put it in frequency mode and scan everyone that's talking. It'll start going up through the frequencies, and it'll stop when it hears someone talking. So that's how you can program it if you're like really just like you don't have the internet, lights are out, you don't have anything. You can hit scan on frequency, and then when someone starts talking, you hit the monitor button, and then it'll stop, and then you can program that into one of your channels. Okay, the VM button. That's the orange button right here. Okay.
Yeah.
The VM allows you to switch channel and frequency mode. So if you have a frequency saved in there, that's a channel. Okay, or you can put it in frequency mode and you can manually input the frequency. So you can either do 2-meter frequency or 70 centimeter frequency on that. On channel mode, you will use the keypad to switch between your 127 programmed channels. This is why you want to use Chirp. And those programmed channels should be emergency services. It should be your local repeaters. It should be the repeater for the county away from you, like in case you're traveling. I would actually program repeaters all around the state that you're in.
Hey, Goy,
okay. Yep.
Goy, question for you. When you were saying local emergency channels, one thing that I've found out is that you can't just use a ham radio to listen to pretty much most of your local police and ambulance radio chatter because they're all on digital. And one thing that I've heard multiple times, and this is after Katrina, when we've had blackouts in Florida, was we can't do anything. We can't radio our people. You know, we don't have that type of technology. That's like 1984 technology. We're all digital now. Does this also incorporate digital or?
No, well, here's the thing. None of mine are digital, and I don't exactly know. I don't know anything about digital right now, but I know that in my area, I can listen to not only the local police station, and here's the deal. You can find all these frequencies on the internet. Just type your zip code and the radio frequencies, and they'll pop up on the internet. Now, if they're digital, there's a law that says that they have to provide how to get that. Now, if they're digital, I don't know how you would get that, but all mine around here are. And in fact, I not only have the local police station and all the ambulances and the sheriff's department, which I listen to all the time. I've got the tactical units, like the SWAT teams in the town next to me and my town. Now they're hardly active. When they are active, you know, they're doing something.
Are you in a more rural area though?
I'm in a suburb. Yeah, it's not a rural area. It's not a rural area. It's a major area. You know,
I'm in a rural-ish area, and I'm in Florida, like I've said before, but I can't get on some of these frequencies because they're encrypted digital frequencies, and they may be able to post out their frequency, but if you're on a digital channel and you don't have the key, you can't hear it. I'm not knocking what you're saying at all.
I'll figure out
my small little experience.
I will figure out what digital you're talking about and get back with you guys on that. I didn't know that, but again, I'm pretty new into this stuff.
I think too it depends. Like GKT mentioned, they won't let you get in if dispatch is encrypted. I think it likely would depend on like how, and I'm just guessing, right? I'm new into this as well. On like how densely populated your area is, how funded they are, if they're spending money on like crazy encrypted radio, but I'm not sure.
And we'll get into a little bit
There's
later
a
on
lot
why
of
you
drug
can't talk.
traffic in my area, so I would assume.
Okay, but even if you are on a ham radio and you're hearing the police talk on their thing, you're probably not going to be able to talk to them, and we'll talk about why later when we explain kind of how the repeaters work.
Okay.
So let's see, the 127 program channels. Okay, so you select one of the channels you want to monitor, and then you go to the A/B slot, right? And the A/B slot will pick between the top or the bottom, and that's on your screen. So think of it as your radio being two radios. You have two signals, and you're monitoring them at the same time. If they're busy, they can get confusing and like talk over each other, and you can change that in the menu settings. But even though you're listening to two different frequencies at the same time, you can only broadcast to one at a time. Using that A/B button, it'll show an arrow either on the top or bottom. And there's that. So an example would be on the top, you have the sheriff, and the bottom one, your local repeater that you use the most or something. And when you're monitoring local radio activity, you can hold scan and it will go through frequencies and stop when it receives a signal, like I talked about. To stop and listen to it, you hit monitor. This is why you want to program known emergency channels, so then you can just scan the channels in channel mode. And then it'll go through all your known channels instead of the whole range of frequencies. And so you can effectively listen to all 127 channels. Whenever someone talks, it'll just come through. It's best practice to use Repeater Book. So Repeater Book is something online, or Radio Reference. Both of these will show you all the repeaters in your area. It may be in your whole state, and you can find repeaters in any state. If you're gonna go to a different state, use Chirp and this Radio Book or Repeater Book and Radio Reference to lock those in real quick. Probably take 20 minutes or something like that, and that'll find all the local repeaters to program into your radio, and then you just use your channels. That's what's going to be the most effective for you. Frequency mode is for people that didn't do their homework, pretty much. And they've got to look through all the frequencies and then guess what these people are saying. And sometimes they're talking in code, so you might not know if it's the sheriff or some other law enforcement agency or a prison or something like that. So if you didn't learn your radio when you should, or if you're in a new area and the grid is down, you hit the VM button, go to frequency mode, hold down scan, and then it'll start scanning up through until it finds an active signal. Think of Repeater Book and Radio Reference as a map that shows you everywhere you need to go for these repeaters. This is really important. Radios are not something you should just buy and throw in an emergency kit and go, okay, I checked that off my box. If you do that, you will be woefully unprepared. You need to learn to use these things while
weeks.
Yeah, you got to learn to use these things while we have rule of law, while we have the internet. You want to print out references for if the lights go out, and not just for your area, but anywhere you might be forced to go. I mean, these radios are not going to be effective if you don't know how to use them, or even if you know how to use them, you know, but you don't know the frequencies to your repeater, you're not going to be able to find it when the lights go down.
Hey, Goy,
So,
I got
yeah.
a good question on here. Armitage says, does the radio have to have a repeater programmed into it for you to use a repeater? And I'm just going to answer from my knowledge. No, a repeater is a standalone unit that you can connect a radio to be able to broadcast and repeat from. But no, radios are not typically repeaters from what I remember. Am I correct on that, Goy?
Well, these handheld radios are not repeaters, but I think what his question is do you need to have your radio tuned in to your local repeater and able to talk with them? And the answer is yes. You can't just get the frequency for that repeater and start talking and say, hey, how's it going, guys? You know, I've got all these problems. You know, I got an emergency. They're not going to be able to hear you. And the reason why is that imagine if there's 10,000 radios in your area and they just have your frequency and they all start talking at the same time. We're going to get into that later. There's some technical stuff that I need to get into to do that. But you do need to not only have their frequency, but match your radio to that frequency in a way where it's slightly off. It's we'll have to get into it. I got it all written down later. But yes, we will get into
I'm sorry
that.
for interrupting.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I
Yeah,
saw
there's
that
a bunch of
question,
good.
and
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I saw the question. I thought that was worth asking on that. And anytime I interrupt, it's typically genuinely to be able to be the novice on this, because I have a light perspective on this whole the ham radio and the transmitting side, and I know enough to make me dangerous, but I don't know enough to be able to get to the point where I know my channels and I know the reference guides to be able to write them down and go from there. I just haven't transmitted. I just have a lot of knowledge on everything in general in this area, but nothing for me to be able to actually transmit in case of an emergency situation.
Yeah, and for the person asking, Chirp is a software. It's a programming software, and there were a lot of really great questions in here that we will go back to as well.
Okay, and everything I'm saying here, this is really important. If you guys, because the Baofang instruction book is terrible. It's like bad translation of Chinese. If you guys go to miklor.com, that's miklor.com, someone made a perfect English manual that you can go through. And I highly suggest you read the manual, guys. These things, they're easy when you know, but they're ridiculous. So there's so many different things that you can do. Okay, now if you go into a menu, I think the first thing you see is squelch. Okay, squelch is a noise barrier, so it will omit like static and other, like, because radios always have like static and residual noise. You got to set that to where you're not hearing static anymore. I think I am on like 5 or something like that right now, but you set the squelch to eliminate the white noise but allow voice. So it'll switch on once it hears a powerful enough signal. Okay, the second option, so like if you hit menu and then that number 1 is squelch, so number 2, this is step, and this is how far the scan will check. So at 2.5K, that's the slowest but most detailed scan. So that's the most granular setting, and it takes the most amount of time to get through. It's the most accurate, but it takes more time and battery. Now 10K is the fastest. That means it's going to just really like scream through. It's going to go like super fast, and it's going to find the the people that are talking faster. That being said, it may skip over if you have it at 10K. It may skip over because someone may not be talking by the time it switches by. Okay, menu 3, TXP is what the menu says. Now that's transmit power, and it has lower or higher. Okay, I suggest leaving it on high. Lower is like if you're just talking, on your property, like a 1 block radius or something like that. If you leave it on low, it'll save your battery, but it'll be shorter range. I leave it on high for emergency situations and just charge my battery. But that's an option. Just imagine if you're on low and then something bad happens and then you're trying to transmit and you're like, damn, why can't my signal get out? That's one more thing that you've got to do. I just leave it on high. Okay, menu number 4, box. That's voice active headset. There's no reason to have this unless you're like using a voice activated option for your cell phone, kind of advanced. Leave it off. Okay, 5, WN. That's wideband narrow band. Okay, just leave it on default. Leave it on wide. ABR is how long the screen light stays on after hitting the button. That's preference. TDR is dual receive. This is what I was talking about. Like, you can receive both of the frequencies that are on your menu. You can turn it off or on if you just want to hear one at a time. I just leave it on unless it's getting annoying. Number 8 is just a beep. Leave it on or off if you want your thing to beep when you hear a transmission or whatever. Okay, number 9 is TOT. That's transmission timeout timer, and it prevents broadcasting more than like however many seconds, like 8 seconds or something like that. This is like to prevent you from stepping on your dick. Like if you're new at stuff, and like let's say a repeater has a rule that you can't broadcast more than like 8 seconds. This prevents you from like breaking the law or whatever. I just leave it off. Number 10, RDCS. Okay, DCS is a tone system and R is receive, meaning if you're on a frequency and you don't receive a tone, it will blank it out. Just leave it off. Number 11, RCTS, tone that radio transmits to repeater when you transmit or use the PTT button. That allows you to be received by the repeater. This is used if you want to turn your radio into a local repeater. That's advanced. Leave it on default for now. When you know how to use it, you'll be able to figure it out. So TDCS is transmit DCS. Just leave it off. Number 14, maybe the most important menu item on there is language. Switch it to English unless you're a commie. I think it has Chinese, English, and off or something like that. Okay, number 15, ANI ID. That's the auto number ID, and the default should be 80808. I just leave that on default. I don't know what that is. I don't think anyone does. I don't know. DTMFST, DTMF tone to transmit code. Leave it on default. Number 17, S code, sets your transceiver to one of 15 ID codes, only set by a computer. Just leave it at 1. Again, when you know what that's for, it's a specialized thing, and for these purposes, you don't need to worry about it. Number 18, SCREV, that's scanner resume method key function. So this is time between scanning and resuming. If you are scanning and you don't want it to skip over, let's say you're making a cup of coffee or you're doing something else and you need time to hit that monitor button. Remember when we get to, when we're using the scanner, we hit the monitor button to land on that channel. If you need more time, then you can make this longer. Let's see.
I gotta.
Oh, okay. So this is valuable with frequency scan a lot. So the search operation, so once it finds a signal, it'll stop. If you have it on SE, then it'll stop every single time. It'll hit that monitor button for you. So you hit the scanner, and if you have it set to SE, it'll just stop on its own. That's really valuable when you're doing frequency scan and you don't have those channels programmed in there. What's that?
No, I just wanted to very quickly read Armitage's comment. He said, "I'm liking the throat mic. Bonus tactical points for when I'm tending strawberry plants and watering the animals." They're talking about Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis, where they got the mics like electric taped to their. Obviously, it's an actual throat mic, but it just looks like a choker. Sorry, that was me being childish.
So number 19, PTT ID. This gives ID when transmitting. Just leave it off. There is some reasons to have that when you get into like receivers that like require an ID or something, or repeaters, I mean, that require an ID. For our purposes and for emergency purposes, this is not needed. Number 20, time before sending PTT ID, just leave it off. Number 21, MDF-A. That's how your display looks when you're monitoring. Let's see. I got lost here. 22, MDF/B. You can choose frequency or name. Now this is actually pretty cool. So if you have a repeater that you use all the time, you can use the name of that repeater, and that way you don't like forget like, oh, what frequency is this? It's like you just know like this is the repeater I use. Or you could put dark, so you know that you're sending it to dark. You can always look up your frequency in the menu when you rename something. Number 23, BCL. That turns off the ability to transmit when someone broadcasts. So if someone's already talking, then you won't be able to talk over them and tie up the lines. Number 24.
If I lose communication with you gentlemen, I apologize. I'm going to put my mic on mute. And my camera off, but I'll be here with you gentlemen. I just have to handle something right now. My freaking dog is in the neighbor's yard, and I gotta go get this son bitch.
Yeah, we don't want to hear you beating your dog, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, number 24, auto lock. That locks your keypad when you're not using your radio within 8 seconds. That's highly annoying. I suggest leaving it off. Number 25, SFT-D. That's frequency shift direction. It's useful if manually programming your radio. It sets your radio when you push to talk to positively offset or negatively offset. Vitally important when using repeaters. Leave off unless manually programming radio to work with a given repeater. So just avoid this one. However, this goes to the question that the guy said about the repeater. So when you have a repeater that you're talking to, use chirp, because you can go online and see what repeater it is. And then the repeater will have a negative or positive offset. This is what will allow you to speak to the repeater. So it's very important that you put that in correctly. You can program it manually here using this. Highly suggest chirp. Number 26, frequency shift amount. Repeaters cannot receive and transmit on the same frequency, so it needs offsets. Again, use chirp. 27, store memory channel. Number 27 and 28, store memory channel and delete memory channel. Again, use chirp, but if you're manually doing this, that's the functions you're going to use to save your channels, your sheriff's department, your whatever. Chirp is much easier, but you can definitely do that here. Number 29, WT-LED. This is vitally important. This sets the color of your LED on standby, and you want to have Chemlight blue, or you're homosexual, I think. Number 30, number 30, TX LED. That's your transmit LED. So you can change your transmit and receive to different colors, so that you know, like, oh shit, I'm transmitting, it's orange or whatever. So 32, ALMOD. This is your alarm mode. Don't mess with it. It's gonna like set off an alarm when certain things happen. Number 33, band. Okay, you don't necessarily have to use this. If you key in your frequency, it's automatically gonna go to what it is. But the band is gonna switch between 2-meter VHF or 70 centimeter UHF. It's kind of redundant, but you can use it. 34, TDR/AB. This is transmit selection in dual watch. Just leave it off. We're almost done here with this part. Thank God. 35, STE, squelch tail elimination. Just leave it on default. If you need it, you're gonna know why. It's not necessary for the radio for our purposes. 36, RP-STE, repeater squelch tail elimination. Again, leave it off. 37, RPT-RL, delayed squelch tail repeater. Again, just leave it off. None of that matters to us right now. 38, PON-MSG, that's power on message. You can have, when you turn on your radio, it can say, hello, Dark. How are you doing? 39, Roger. Okay, that's a Roger tone, plays at the end of TX. Just leave it off. It's not for ham radios. That's for something else. Okay, number 40 is like your reset to defaults. It's reset all, and that's the last one. You want to use this if you just totally fucked up your radio and you got to start all over. Like if you're manually inputting channels or whatever, you're going to want to reset all of them before you use chirp, because chirp will do all that. Now, we've got a few more things, not with the like how to set up the Baofang. We're done with that. That's all the stuff you need to do for Baofang. And this stuff is kind of getting into the fun stuff about how to get the most range out of it. We're going to talk about like hidden antennas and kind of cool shit. The fun part.
Nice. Yeah, when we spoke about the hidden antenna shit, that's a really appealing thing to me, because not everybody wants to have a massive antenna outside of their home, or being able to be spotted pretty quickly, whether in a world with rule of law or without rule of law.
And some of these are so hidden that like military is not going to be able to figure out that you've got something there, unless they're specifically looking for you. There is no way that you can transmit. If you think that you're going to be transmitting and like letting people know how many tanks are driving by and like giving out information like that, you are in a danger zone. Like they're going to find you. Now, if you were to do that, like you can't stop the signal. Once it gets out, they can't stop it. They just can't. I suggest if you're like giving out intelligence because some foreign army is on your land or something like that, you want to be in a mobile unit, blast it out and then drive away. Again, it's not perfect. You can get caught. And in fact, a lot of terrorists have been caught because they're using radios, because they're using cell phones. These are not stealth machines. However, you can listen in to anything. They're great intelligence gathering just on their own. You can listen to anything, and there's no way they can find you because you're just receiving. As long as you're not transmitting, you're golden. And that's what I like the most about ham radios.
Yeah.
So, how to get the most range from your Baofang? Number one, this is the most important, guys, conditions, okay? If in perfect conditions using like GMRS or something like that, like you're on the top of a hill and it's just flat, flat area all around you with perfect atmospheric conditions, I think 13 to 15 miles is about what you can get without bouncing off a repeater or anything like that. With GMRS, that's what I'm willing to do while I don't have my license. Now, I've heard, I haven't used, I've heard that with the ham signals, with the proper antenna and keeping your power up, you could go 40 to 50 miles in some scenarios, usually like bouncing off the ionosphere or whatever. So in ideal conditions, not perfect, but ideal, 10 miles, we're talking about the same conditions that maybe you got tall grass or something like that. Average conditions, 5 miles, like there's some houses here and there, no hills. Below average, now this is like where I'm at, there's hills, there's trees, cities, etc. It could be just a couple blocks to a mile. I can get about 1 mile from my house to a lady from church that I gave a Baofang to. So atmospheric conditions further degrade or enhance performance. There's certain times of the year that are better than others for even like your home setup. But with these radios, it can just change day by day. So if you get this thing and you're like, man, it said that it would go, 5 miles or 10 miles, your conditions are what's gonna be the difference. They're the single most important variable to range. Okay, the best way to get the most range is to use repeaters. Also, read your manual. It'll tell you like how to get more range. One thing is the power setting. You want to leave that on high to get the most range out of your, and that goes to reading your manual. Make sure your power level is high. I believe you can hit the key lock button if you just hit it real quick. I believe that is what immediately switches you from low to high. Again, I just leave it on high. A better antenna. Okay, so I told you to get the whip antenna, like the Nagoya 771. So they have two different Nagoyas. If you're going to be using just GMRS, you want the Nagoya 771 -G. So that for GMRS, that's in the 462 megahertz range. You're gonna get more range with that one if you're just using GMRS. Now the one I had you get, it will do GMRS, but it's more in the 450 megahertz range, and that's gonna work with GMRS pretty good, not the best, but it's gonna give you your ham signals, which that's what I got it for.
Okay.
Okay, so get an antenna tuned to the band you use most, and they're cheap enough that you can just get one for GMRS and put it on there if you're just using GMRS. If you choose to use your Baofang illegally on GMRS or FRS, you want to use the Nagoya 771G, like I said. And also there's something called a counterpoise. Now you could make one of these and you basically just connect it to a piece of metal on your radio, and you can look up online for the exact, like what's the exact length or whatever that's the best. Now this is important if you're wearing a plate carrier and like you have like the cat antenna, like one of those ones that's just a like a coil or something like that, because what this does is it basically gives you what you should be doing. Like if you have it in your hand and you're holding it around the let's see. If you're holding it like this is the correct way to hold it, and then you hold it by your head, your brain, your hand, all that becomes kind of like the ground, or its own counterpoise is the actual term. If you don't have that, a counterpoise, which is just a piece of wire, basically, will do the same thing and get you the range that you need. It acts as a ground plane and corrects the directional transmissions. You want your antenna to be straight up and down, but if it's not, that counterpoise will work. Proper handling of the radio could do the same thing. Just hold the radio hand covering below the antenna and touching metal and close to your head. Okay, now we're gonna get into what I thought was the coolest ever. This is for like if you have a ham radio set, not the Baofang, but if you actually have like a home base set or even a car set. So first off, not all antennas work with the same frequencies. You need to plan what you want to do and ensure that you have the space inside to do it if you're going to do an inside stealth one. Outside antennas often act as several different antennas by using different portions of the antenna at certain times, which means like you're going to want it on 10 meter, you're going to have a different antenna than on 15 or whatever. If you have a big enough attic or something like that, you can put like a regular antenna, not like a wire antenna, but like you can buy an antenna that's big enough and it's protected by weather, prying eyes, like it's awesome. But if you have an attic, a 2-story house would be great. A 3-story house would be better. Antennas do best when they're high up. If you don't care about a stealth antenna, just put a ground antenna outside as big as you want, you know, that would work out. But you really need to do your research about what frequency you want to do and get the right antenna. That's why you see some people with multiple different antennas. So they might have different ones for transmitting and you know, all that kind of stuff. Or if they want to receive different frequencies and stuff, it gets pretty deep. You're going to want to research what you're going to do, because you can't just buy a ham radio antenna, plug it in, and think that it's going to work. So low bands require long wires or big Yagis to be effective. There are compromises to favor reduced size attic or something. You can take your wire, and it doesn't have to be in a straight line. It can be wrapped around or gone back and forth in a zigzag. That is a compromise, though. It's not going to work as good as if it's put in the right position. So just real quick.
Just for clarity, so this does have to be powered, like connected to your here, I'll pull it up. So this is the Whippy. You're talking about actually like being powered connected to your device, right? You can't just like wrap copper around your attic and, you know, it's not like having aluminum foil on your TV antenna.
All antennas receive electricity to transmit. So they have to be hooked up to your radio to receive, but also to get the power. Your radio is going to put the power out that you need, and there's all kinds of different ways that you got to do this. You got to have power supplies for your radio. You've got to have the proper equipment that will put the right amount of wattage into the antenna. Building antennas could probably be a whole nother deal. But as it is now, again, if you decide that you want to have a certain, we'll talk a little bit about what certain apartments or houses can do. There's all kinds of websites, there's all kinds of places that will recommend the proper kind of antenna for you, teach you how to build it if you don't want to buy it, and all those different things. But yes, it has to be connected, It has to be getting power. And also, don't just get the antenna you need and put it somewhere and call it good, because RF signals can give you cancer. It can hurt you. So certain antennas are low power and they could be right next to you. And other antennas, you want to make sure, and they've got testing ability. Like Light said earlier, you want to get an Elmer. You want to get someone that knows what they're doing. That that can help you out with that. Or, they even have like RF meters where you can go around your house and make sure, you're not irradiating your kids or something like that. So the bigger and the more powerful the antenna, I mean, it's bad. It can get really bad. Now, I'll explain here. I said that you want long wires or a Yagis. Okay, so Yagis is the true word of it is Yagai Uda. Okay, it's an antenna. It's a directional antenna consisting of 2 or more parallel resonant antenna elements in an end fire array. These are most often metal rods acting as half-wave dipoles. So Light said earlier about dipoles. Yeah, a dipole is basically just 2 different directions, and it's going to give you the frequency you need for certain things, certain frequencies or whatever. Now, a dipole is multi-band, so it can handle like a couple different bands, UHF, VHF, maybe HF or something like that. And usually it's 2 poles in parallel it's like 2 poles, one going this way, one going that way in parallel, right? And then to get different frequencies to work correctly, you need radials, right? And those are like wires that'll connect. And so just imagine the poles going in 2 different directions, and then like, let's say 15-foot wires connecting to the poles, and then 10-foot wires connecting to them again in a shorter area. This is confusing, I know, but this is what's going to be your basic setup. It is simple once you figure it out. So those wires are going to allow you to kind of tune in where you need to go. So there's also an antenna called an end-fed half wave. So that's basically 10 meters of wire. It's best in a straight line, but this is one that you can just sling around your attic or your room or something like that. I heard of a guy when I was looking on YouTube. He basically just had 10 meters of wire, or he might have had more than that. But anyway, depending on your frequency you're using, you're going to have different length of wire. And he just wired it around his room, and he was able to talk 2,500 miles away just using, I think, speaker wire or something like that. Jesus. And then there's loops. Go ahead.
No, I just said Jesus. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so then there's loops, okay? And loops are directional antennas. Usually it's like 3 loops or something like that, and you point it at the repeater that you want to use, and that's a directional antenna. I wrote here, it looks like it's a pain in the ass. They are limited power for transmission, maybe like 40 watt or something like that. I'm sure there's some different ones, but they are limited to power, whereas like the dipoles probably aren't. But this is where you can have the loops to like receive, and the dipole to send. So you can have like 2 different antennas that can help you out with and you just flip a switch or something to use one or the other. Okay.
Damn.
So let's talk about homeowners associations. They will generally not allow anything other than satellite TV antennas. Apartment balconies are a poor choice. Attics are hot and uncomfortable to work in, low vertical height, and if you're not that high off the ground, that limits you on transmission, which is up into the atmosphere and back down. So the pros are it's stealthy. Some attics are long enough for interesting antennas. It's not perfect, right? Like if you could, you should have like the proper antenna in the proper area, but there are definitely workarounds that you can do. Okay, also some roofs have a radiant barrier. Antennas will not work if you have a radiant barrier built into your roof. But the most popular antenna for attics is a dipole that's a multi-band antenna. Okay, we talked about end-fed half wave, which is basically just straight across. You can definitely do that. You can use full wave magnetic loops, which are directional, and that's kind of cool. Consider having two of them. It's possible to have your, like I said, transmitting dipole in the attic and a receiving loop outside, and those are small antennas. So you can hide them. You can hide them somewhere. You could camouflage them. You can make them look like something else. Receiving loops are small. Oh yeah, okay. And they could be hidden by trees or whatnot from the street. Okay. And having two gives you the ability to switch between either antenna when you're receiving, which will help you in situations where you're trying to get the best signal between multiple frequencies. And switching can clear up static, so sometimes you'll hear static, and so switching between them you might get a better signal, so that's cool. And it helps with radio frequency identification when you have two. You can use them to troubleshoot. Let me take a hit of this real quick.
You're good. That's some interesting shit right there. It shows you how complicated a $20 to $26 piece of equipment can be.
Well, what I'm telling you here is generally just ham radios in general. If you have like a base station, you can hook up bigger antennas to these radios. But if you're going to be using, because these radios only do UHF and VHF, you most certainly can use them as a base station for UHF and VHF. But the benefit of having a home station is that you can do HF. You can do those things. You can basically set yourself up like a repeater station and send your signal across the country. You could do that with these handhelds, but you have to use a repeater. This is like to build your own like badass tower. That's what we're talking about now. And for that, you're gonna need like a ham radio, like base set that's plugged in.
Yeah, like a stationary setup.
A good power supply. I'm looking into having like massive solar panels on my roof. We're not going to have any electricity from the street, and if we do, we're going to get paid because we're going to send them back electricity. Benefits of having a electrical engineer for a father. Okay, so let's talk about apartments here. Apartments are kind of crazy, but this is going to show you like what you can do even with just like one small ass room, right? So it says here, apartments are tough and you likely have only two options. Okay. Option A, put the antenna in the apartment, like literally right next to what you're doing. You can run a dipole along the ceiling line. And it's highly recommend that you do a QRP antenna in this case, because that's a 10-watt input or a 5-watt output. This is to keep you safe from the RF.
I didn't mean to laugh. Blue Stick said when you went on mute for a second, he said, "My man." He said, "My man just swallowed a bolus of coffee before exhaling his vape. That's a liter." That's fucking excellent. Sorry, dude. That was great.
No, I agree. Coffee is mandatory. Yeah. I could drink a pot right before I go to bed and I sleep fine.
Oh yeah.
but yeah, QRP, 10-watt input, 5-watt output. It keeps a minimum amount of transmit power to carry out your comms. RF is deadly if you don't do it right. You don't want to live around high output. That you need some space, and it doesn't take that much space. Like an attic is far enough ahead of you that you're probably going to be fine. But don't eat cereal right next to strong antennas. Okay, so one of these antennas could be just a 50-foot wire thrown out a window, like or a dipole. If you use the corner apartment, you could use a 3-loop directional tuned to a repeater. So you can clamp these down like on your patio or something like that. You really want to be careful that you clamp that stuff down. Use blue Loctite. You don't want it landing on someone and getting sued. So I just use strong mounts. Now with an antenna, you want vertical. That's what you want. But like 45 degrees or something or better is okay. You will be able to get something out of that. We're almost done here. Okay, VHF and UHF is still doable in an apartment. Get a mag mount. Like this is a mobile antenna. That's another like super good idea. Just slap it on like a metal table, your washer or dryer, or whatever, and that'll work fine. Another opportunity is a J-pole. You can connect it to a curtain rod and throw the cable out the window or whatever, or just throw it over something. Just a long wire is an option. If you have a fenced-in yard, this is for houses too. Hide it on clotheslines or feed around trees. 4 foot off the ground works fine. Higher up is better. A ground antenna, like if you don't have to hide it, a ground antenna works great on like almost all frequencies. And that's what you really want. You want a grounded antenna that's really high for the best possible outcome here.
Nice.
Portable antennas, like we talked about, they work good. And here's the thing, even if you have a homeowners association, if you put your antenna out there, use it when you need it, and then put it away, it's hard for them to like catch you. Or do it at nighttime. If you need to listen to some stuff, you do it at nighttime, your neighbors don't even notice. And then you put it back in if you're trying to be stealthy. Okay. Hiding it. So we talked about attics. Fences are good since they're low to the ground. It has limited applications, but running them on fences where people can't really see it, that's cool. Trees are great for getting a wire up. You might want to think about spray painting the black cables like brown and green, and like especially if you're in Florida, trees have like vines on them and stuff like that down there, don't they? Right?
Yeah, we have like the kudzu and stuff like that, but depending on what part of Florida,
Yeah.
there's a lot of chances where you just have some good pine trees with no vining, and you can throw up
Yeah.
a streamer and have it on a pulley and be able to pull up your antenna relay and make it really discreet.
Cool. So here's some plain sight options. If you go to graylineperformance.com, they have a flagpole. So, when shit goes down, you can get this flagpole and like fly the UN flag and then just like listen to everything they're saying. There's a product called the Ventana, and it's disguised as a vent. So like even if you have a homeowners association, it's like a little like 4 foot long vent, and it goes down a little bit into your house, and they don't even know that it's an antenna. Those are pretty cool.
Someone
And
actually
antennas are cheap.
mentioned, sorry, just real quick. Someone actually mentioned a second ago a false chimney antenna.
Yeah, it would have to be a false chimney. I don't think an antenna would do good around brick, but maybe it would. I don't know.
I've actually seen some people disguise in homeowners association that do ham radio. We have things called solar water heaters, where basically it's a square grid and it looks like almost like a solar panel, but water is going in and out of it to be able to heat it up. And they just run their coaxial cable or whatever antenna line around it to be able to basically add into the disguise of being able to broadcast at the same time they're heating water.
Yeah. So what you do, when you get caught with, having a gun you shouldn't have, don't plea out. Go to jail, learn how to disguise stuff, and come out and do it.
No, don't do that.
So disguised mag loops. Those mag loops, there's some really cool ways that people have disguised that on the internet. Just if you type in disguised mag loop antenna, you'll see some hilarious stuff there. Now here is one that I think is so rad. So you've seen satellite dishes like laying on the side of the road, right? Like old satellite dishes. So you can take a satellite dish, any satellite dish, and carve a notch in it. And they have, if you put modified satellite dish, carving a notch into the keywords, you'll find it. And this will effectively allow you to use VHF and UHF, and it's like impossible to notice, especially if you paint over where you scratched. It's crazy.
Doesn't that
if
become
you
more directional than anything at that point?
you know what, all I know is that it works, and that's why you can't do like HF or whatever. But if you go to w6nbc.com/articles/20xx dish slot.pdf, it will tell you how to do all of this stuff. And it's
go over that one more time so I can put it in the chat.
Okay. w6n.bc.com/articles/20xx-dish-slot.pdf, and they show you how to do this, and that is like the most stealth one that I've seen, other than the one I'm about to share with you.
They're not going to be able to link that. That's right. I was putting links in there, and I'll drop them in comments, guys. Sorry about that.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to say something before
About your
it
chickens.
leaves my mentality. I went off to go buy a pack of cigarettes and ended up talking to a gentleman that is from Philadelphia, and he had a rough upbringing. Um, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to say nationality or color of anybody, but me and him both saw eye to eye on a lot of different things that are coming down the pipeline, and how with him with a new child, on how he's looking at things. And I kind of gave him a little tidbit when I walked up there out of my vehicle. I'm like, hey man, your kid's so cute. How old? 1 years old? I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter the stupid stuff that we've been through. Our kids are supposed to be greater than what we've ever done. And he was like, man, I've heard that a lot of times. And we ended up, that's why I dropped out of the comms 100%, was because I ended up talking to this gentleman, and he's like, man, I've been through the hood and the slums and all this other crap, and I don't see any good things here or there. And I basically dropped some knowledge on him, which he already knew, but hearing it again kind of reinforced it. And I gave him my number, and I literally passed on this channel and the podcast. And I was like, dude, check it out. I mean, we're trying to build self sufficiency and independence. And he ended up talking about how, he's looking for a government grant to be able to buy some land so, he can try to get off the grid. He's a black gentleman from Philadelphia, and he's been through some shitty times growing up, as a lot of us have, maybe more than some. I know I have ups and downs on both sides of the tracks at that point. But I was telling him, a couple of things. It's like, man, that's fucking amazing. I didn't know about that, but I kind of heard these things. I legitimately gave him my number and passed on the channel. And I'm not worried about fucking attaboys or this or that. I want to help people at the end of the day, no matter what. And I'd rather talk to people face to face in person to be able to help them. And the YouTube and this multimedia, social media bullshit is another way that I'm trying to help people. So this is one of the things that I really want to push. And this is something I do in my damn daily life. So it is what it is. And that's one of my favorite sayings recently, or at least the past 8 months. It is what it is. So, end of the day, I don't give a shit on anybody's past upbringing. Everybody needs to be able to reach out and try to help or pass on some knowledge if you happen to know it, to be able to help out somebody that might actually be trying to help themselves. No matter where they come from or what it is, you're an American citizen, I got you, bro. You might as well be a war vet or a fucking former service member. I don't care. I treat every American the same freaking way. You're a shitbag. You're a shitbag. When you show me you want help, I got you.
I think
And
for this,
that's what it is for me.
I'm gonna have to blue it out for this. Okay, in this current life, we literally go to the store, we go out, we go run errands, we go do this, we go do that, and the most conversation you have with somebody is some superficial bullshit. You can tell because when you walk past somebody, you literally say like, hey, how are you? Good, good. Like, when has anyone ever stopped to say bad? I'm doing bad. I'm doing poorly. Well, I've recently taken the black pill. Like, it's just really superficial shit. So I would encourage you and anyone in the chat to actually have like some real ass conversations with people and, take their temperature first, like not actually, right? I'm take their like temperature first and just kind of start a conversation and see where they're at and see what you can do to help. Like everything that we do should be about providing to others, whether it's information, whether it's something that you don't need and they do. That's all. I'll get off my my high horse now. So what up, Fairchild? Bow 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 bow.
Well, that's really important. So much of what's going on here is, even people that aren't red pilled, even people that don't take the black pill. I think most people right now, except the most very brainwashed, like recognize something's up. Like something's up. We don't live in the same country our grandparents did. We don't live in the same country that our little brother did. It's like things are changing so fast, and people are like, oh well, the morals that I had growing up, they don't apply anymore. It's like everyone is saying that we have new morals, that it's weird, right? Like they'll call you racist if you don't want to date a trans woman. It's like most people know that's weird. Most people know that. I mean, no hate here, but it's like, yeah, I prefer to have someone that I can have a family with. It's like, and it's things like that. It's so many different things that people are afraid to talk about it because they don't want to get canceled. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to stop the income coming in for their families or whatever. And the discussion has to be had. Truth stands on its own, and if you believe that raising a godly family, or even just a family that believes in right and wrong, is the right way to go. You can't really be silent about that. You should talk to people. You should talk to your neighbors. You should say, hey, I heard that, you're having a hard time at work. You want to talk about it. And then that'll open the door to so many other things. You don't like start a conversation with like the Khazarians are taking over everything. It's like, just talk with them, ask them if they need anything, and then actually help them. Help the old lady out on the corner of the street, because when you make friends with her, you help her out. Maybe one day her grandson's going to know that you helped her out, and like, you don't know how to change a radiator. I hope you do, but then he can help you. It's like connections are super important, and most people don't talk to real human beings anymore on the daily. It's like they're so scared and in fear of like speaking their mind, or even just speaking to someone about their own opinions.
That's how much our society has been changed, and it's by design, man. You can tell because of the direction that it's headed in. But I'll tell you that what I meant to say when I was going on my little blue rant was, you can tell when people say, like, there's a greeting, like, hey, how are you? And they don't wait for you to respond before they start talking, right? Because it's these like superficial surface conversations, and that's it. Then you keep it moving. So
yeah, most people don't listen. They're just waiting to talk. That's dark.
yeah.
This is my daughter, Marilyn.
Hello, Marilyn.
She can't hear you. I have my earpiece in, but he said hello. She wanted to know when I was going to be done, and I said probably about 20 minutes.
Maybe less.
I'm on my last card here, and then we can shoot the shit for a minute.
To rescue a guy at a 7-Eleven and get a puppy or something like that. So you're good to go, brother.
Little girl, go on for a minute. I'll be off in a few minutes. 1 second.
You're good. You're good. Hey, and all y'all, man, I really appreciate y'all sticking it out. I know that this isn't the most like exciting, thrilling information, but kiddo is tie. But it's information that we all need to go over. Like, I don't personally have experience with the Baofangs, with ham radio, and but one thing you may want to do, and I've heard that this is like a national thing, is that there's a group called Hamateurs, like ham amateurs, but together it's creative Hamateurs. And in my area, there's one, and from what I understand, there's some like literally all over the country. So you guys may find that there's a Hamateur group that meets in your area, and if there is, they're usually free. You walk right in, sit down, and just absorb as much information as possible. For sure, Blue Sticks.
And that's an option for people that don't want to get their ham radio license, but they want to learn how to transmit. They want to learn how to use their radios. They will let you use, their call sign, and most of them are pretty chill about it. At this point, I think they pretty much know everyone that is going to be a problem in the future. You might as well just get it. But I really thought about that for a long time. I'm going to get mine. If you don't, Hamateurs is a good option to learn how to do it and stay under the radar.
Dude, I just saw what Fairchild posted, and I think this is pretty epic. Has anyone seen that meme? Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. Damn, bro, I haven't seen that, and that's a vicious.
I have.
Man. Yeah, I have not. While we're in a little dip too, before we get back in, I just want to thank Walter and Blue Sticks for contributing, guys. You guys don't feel compelled to do that, man, but we are very grateful. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and speaking to what you said before I get on this last card in the beginning, you know, I honestly I can't imagine that feds would be telling you to get more self-sufficient and like actually blast out, truth about how our system works the way that it does. I didn't come here and learn a lot of well, I learned a lot of new things, but my research had already brought me to this place, where we know generally what's going on, and there's just no way that feds would do that. Now, if you were, calling people to action or saying, "Hey, we should all come on here and, talk nonsense" or something like that, yeah,
Yeah,
I would get that. But you're not, dude. I suggest before, light dips off the channel completely, you know, just get the moderators. Like, I know you care about free speech, but clean this stuff up,
I
so
do
you don't
have
have to.
two mods now.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
yeah.
guys know this, but Sport Brand and Matt Telhart are both mods, and I don't think Light is just gonna bounce, man.
Yeah, I hope not.
I don't think.
I think I've seen Sport Brand on another Discord channel. I don't know if it's true, but hacking the headlines. I think I might have seen him there. I'm not. Someone else with his name, maybe. But anyway, let's just get to the last little bit here, and then we can shoot the shit. So this is one of the coolest antenna ideas I've ever seen, other than the dish. Your metal gutters on your house, if you isolate them from other metal, like via wooden eaves or something, they can be turned into an antenna. So the way you would do that is that the center pin of a coax cable would connect to the gutter downspout. Okay.
Finally.
And then, yeah. And then,
hey,
the shield.
Phone died.
Sorry, Light just came back in.
My phone died, and my phone died, and I didn't realize at 1%. So I missed out on what Dark was saying when he was on his blue light special. But during that time frame when I was waiting for my phone to turn on, I grabbed one of my little chicks, and I'm just trying to make him feel like I'm not going to eat him in the future.
That's a good idea. We're talking about how to turn your metal gutters into an antenna.
So I'll just say that over again for Light. Metal gutters isolated from other metal via wooden eaves can be turned into an antenna. So you take the center pin of a coax and connect it to the gutter downspout. So it runs up, and then you do shield runs to radials on the ground. So you'd have like wire connecting to the ground, and you can have that like run down hidden. And then a tuner is required for this antenna because it's basically, kind of an ungainly sort of antenna. But radials are wires that run away from the base of the antenna. And what it does is it augments the conductivity of the ground near the base of the antenna. And the radial will extend as far as the signal can reach, either by calculation or measurement. And this is like a giant counterpoise. This is what we were talking about, how it allows your antenna to point in the right direction with your handheld. That is the same exact thing that you're doing here, but on a house. So it's completely hidden. They could not even possibly know that you've got it. And it works really well. But that's all I got, guys.
That's
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. I had no idea that you could do that with gutters. That's straight gutter.
Hey Goy, I want to ask you a quick question. A lot of people telling me when I got my set, or which used to be a car set, that has been refurbed into a home base station, telling me to go to a dipole antenna, and I know different frequencies, and you have to arrange the ends of the antenna to be at a certain space between each other, and this and that for certain frequencies. But what does a dipole antenna cover, like band wise? From what I understand, it emergency and a lot of the spectrum. But if you want to start reaching long distance, you need to go at different bandwidths. What does a dipole do for you that other antennas will not?
You're muted, brother. You're muted. Oh no, it was just the mute button. I think he's backing out and
He
coming
might have
back.
did what I do all the time, where I hit the leave button trying to hit chat button.
It's just so close. It's right
Dark,
there.
so what were you saying when Yeah, Dark, what were you saying when you went on the blue light special and literally my phone died and I'm like, damn it, this is BS, and then I went and played with my chickens.
Oh shit, my laptop just hit 5% too. No, so what I was saying is that in this day and age, like you can tell that people, don't really care to have real conversations. Like you can tell in the way that they ask and they say, "Hey, how are you?" and they don't wait for you to respond before they start talking because they don't care how you are, and that just we need to be more of a community, care for each other, care more, share more, learn more, that kind of thing.
Everything froze up
Yep.
on me. I had to leave
It's
and
always,
come back.
in my opinion,
You're good, buddy.
it's always about outreach. No matter who you talk to, I don't care if it's a gangbanger or a meth head, country boy, or somebody wearing Gucci pants, whatever it may be. Everybody needs the chance to be able to possibly get some knowledge and help them out, or at least they might be able to pass on the knowledge to somebody else that might use it or spark their own interest. So that's the way I
We're
view
getting
things.
some questions. Sorry. Bacon asks, can you use an old TV antenna?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's ways that you can do that. But as for the dipole light, that's a multi-band antenna. So that's more of a like do most things antenna. And the way you would do that is the dipole means there's like two poles going in each direction, and then or wire, and then you would use wire to connect, like let's say 15 feet in either direction, and 10 feet in any direction, and that way you can use any length of that antenna to kind of do like a multi-band thing. That's a simple explanation that more or less is true. I still need to like research a lot more into antennas, but I do know that they are like multi-band, that they're capable of doing more than just one band. And so the bands are like, let me see here. I'll just go through
From
all
the one
bands.
thing that I was told was the easiest setup, and you can do it with just basic coaxial, which is what people have running through their house as cable.
Yeah.
And it's going to give you the best bandwidth without having to go super fine-tuned into a specific antenna. And then when you're going super fine-tuned into antenna, you know exactly what you want to do and where you're at. And dipole is the entry level to be able to get you on multiple bandwidths. And then after that, you're like, okay, now I know what I want to fine tune on. And then you go from there, is kind of like the explanation that I've heard.
Right. So are you guys familiar with how frequency works? The frequency, like if you're imagining like a wave, right? So in in the frequency spectrum, like a small tone would be smaller ripples, higher frequency, and like a shorter wavelength. And like a larger one would be like larger ripples, lower frequency, but longer wavelength. So just imagine like bigger, longer waves in between as opposed to like the shorter waves. And so what that does is when you start out in the wavelength frequency, we've got LF, which is low frequency. And low frequency, or VLF, which is very low frequency, that's just in the audio range. That's just like you and I talking, right? And then medium frequency would be like your AM band. That's your ship to shore, that's your AM radio, and that's 550 kilohertz to like 650 kilohertz. High frequency, which is HF, that's where you really start getting into some fun stuff. You're able to go a lot longer. That's like your ship to shore and international broadcasts. CB, believe it or not, is actually in that. It's kind of a different animal, but you know, CB doesn't go super far with some of the CB radios and stuff like that, but you can manipulate it using certain technologies or whatever. So VHF, this is what your Baofangs are. That's low band, FM band, and high band. That's all covered in VHF. This is your this is like your 88 megahertz, 108 megahertz is like towards the higher. And in between there's the 2 meters. That's in the high band, is like the 2 meters or the 222 megahertz and all that. Then you have UHF. That's your TV signal and stuff. That's how you're going to be able to, like if you had the proper ham radios, you can tune into what someone's saying on your TV with an antenna, like TV antenna. You can hear it and even see it on your TV. That also does TV. Aircraft is VHF, land, mobile, and marine. UHF is ultra high frequency. This is your like 1 meter, 300 megahertz, all the way to 3 gigahertz. So in between there's the 440 megahertz, 900 megahertz, 1240 megahertz. This is TV as well, land, mobile, trunked phones, and cellular phones actually operate in UHF. And then SHF is military radar, police radar, long distance phones, and satellite. And when you get up high enough, it's like microwaves. So you're messing with some pretty geared up shit at that point, and dangerous with the RF and all that.
Yeah.
So I hope that answered some of the questions. I'm not an expert at it.
Goy, I will tell you, I know about microwaves. Goy, because I hope nobody from PETA is listening right now. But the reason why when we're underway, or even Pierce inner or Ray or add
You're totally breaking up, brother.
electricity to any of the working under. Can you hear me now?
Breaking up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, if you flick.
We can't hear you.
Dark.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. You have a sad face.
Dark.
There you go.
On the when I was in the Navy, they would energize the radar, and that was flick in air. Watch it spark and explode in the air while it was energized, and looking for surface contacts. And
now you're back out.
I'm not gonna say I ever did this, but some people have
Bro,
some people have thrown
completely.
food in the air.
I'm sorry, brother. It's completely chopping. Like you're like screwed
Nobody
and
can
chopped,
hear me?
like the down south.
Okay.
We got like every fifth
All right.
word, and I'm sorry. I'm at 2% now. Um, so we had a couple legitimate questions. I'm sorry, Light. Love you, brother. Bacon says, semi-serious question. Could you use UHF as an SHTF version of Skype?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. System said, what's up, system? I'm glad you're here, brother. Get a G5 RV antenna for HF. With hardwired infrastructure, repeaters, very simple but effective antenna for low band operation. Hey, Light, show us what it looks like to energize a pickle.
System.
You have zero connection, brother.
Hey, Light, give me a thumbs up if Darks can give me your email. I'll send you some cool stuff about air guns.
Mm-mm. I'm just kidding.
No?
Yeah. Are you good with me? You want me to give him the full Monty or just the email?
I won't share
All right.
nothing.
Real quick, I gotta let you guys know before this goes. I'm at 2%. So I just got a link from your boy Pinecone. Okay, Jonathan Pinecone. No, Jonathan Picone just sent me a link, and you guys are going to be thrilled to know that there's now something called Glimmer Ridge, and there are classes that are going to become available. The first class is going to be April 17th, 2021, and use code Pickle Muncher to save 0%. Sorry, no.
I'm actually a member of Front Sight, and my brother lives in Las Vegas, so I'm about to go out there and take their carbine and their pistol course, and they've got some pretty serious training out there. I could give you guys a membership. It's like a low-level membership for free, so if you want, I have a couple of those to give away. Not that you'd be that close to be able to use it, but
Hey, we'll take whatever we can get. Pickle antenna. Yeah, make sure, guys. Here's the deal. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take advantage. Here we go. We all want to make sure we support each other, that we, patronize each other. And right now we have the goddamn bacon in our chat, and it's too blurry, brother. You can't see it. What does it say? System, I love you. You got pickle juice on your chin. Basically, we all got to support each other, right? Like, especially like this has been a rough time, especially the last 12 months. So support Picone with his classes he has coming up. I'll even get with him to see if we can do something on a giveaway, because we do want to contribute to you guys. Also, the goddamn bacon is in here. He has his own show, and if you have not subscribed to him, then back out of this real quick. Go to his channel, subscribe to him, and we also should show some love for Goy. Everybody in chat, please go through and show some love for Goy, because he put a lot of work into this, and we're all beginners on this. Like, we all got to start somewhere, but these are going to be your iPhones when shit goes down, and it's something that you can use during the the time with rule of law that you get to practice. So you don't want to practice on live bait. All right. I actually just plugged up my computer, but we're at 2. Oh, lights back. Oh, it just froze again. I can see.
Okay, can you hear me?
Mostly, yes.
Okay, I was gonna say if everybody can hear me, and I'm not calling a specific person out, but there's a gentleman that may have some systematic functions in the third degree that has a lot of good information when it comes down to this type of comms. And I know he'll never be on here on a stream or even a podcast,
Maybe
but
he could wear his helmet, his new normal helmet, and come on here.
I would love to be able to have him at least be a great insight of knowledge to be able to help pass on to other people in this arena. And Goy, dude, you did an amazing job at passing out this
Hey,
information.
Hell yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if I had an Elmer, it would be somebody that had a system. Maybe in the third version, I would like straight up ask him if he'd be willing to take on a novice. But at the same time, I really want to be able to pick his brain to be able to provide this kind of information to you guys also. And Goy, if system allows me, I would love to put y'all in contact, and he
yeah,
can go deep diving with you. I haven't been able to
yeah. Dark
speak
has
to
my
him in a
info.
while. Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't been able to speak to system in a while my damn self, but all I can say is I love you, brother, and thank you, and I wish the best for you, man. And you
You
have a lot
too.
of comms knowledge that can help out a lot of people. And yes, I love you too, Goy.
Well, if you love me, then just follow all the Noahide laws. Support Israel by donating to your local church, and you,
Oh,
you, hey, for anyone that's looking for information, though, for anyone that's looking for information, Ham Radio Crash Course, that guy puts it
yeah.
out in a way that is really effective, really good, and I really enjoyed his work. Also, that book, The Technician Class,
Yep.
that's really good. Again, that's by Gordon West, and that's your go-to. That's your manual. Read it. Read all of it. And if you need to know about Baofang specifically, that ham radio crash course has like how to program it, how to use chirp, how to do everything that I talked about. Again, with the antennas, don't just build an antenna. Please do your research. Don't irradiate your kids. Um, I don't know everything about the antennas. I just kind of spoke about which antennas they have. And
Yep.
again, find your frequency, do the research of what kind of antenna. I highly suggest if you can do it, do the dipole multiband. And if you can, get these ham radios and at least a car mobile set, if not a home base set, and you can be set. But if all you do is learn these Baofings, you have a huge step up.
Hey, like I said, you know about Art Bell, and I was listening to Art Bell talking about the new ham radio antenna that he installed, and he was like, I didn't realize how much electricity and voltage was going through it until I saw it ground off onto something. And if any human being was there when it freaking grounded off, yeah, you wouldn't be a human being anymore.
More of
So
a Tesla coil than an antenna, huh?
exactly. So I mean, you can do things on a I want to say maybe 15 watt to 20 watt range where it won't kill you touching the antenna, and you still have the ability to reach around the world off the
Reach around.
ionosphere, off the ionosphere without
Yeah,
having to worry about repeaters and stuff. But
yeah.
if you start cranking up the voltage, you can turn yourself into a fucking fried chicken really quickly. But we don't want to scare you on that. But yeah, the dipole antenna is basically what I was told is the go-to to start it off, and you can still do incredible stuff with that. And I mean, you can stretch out 100 feet that way, 100 feet that way, and then distance between the ground, and then even increase it even further, but you can get into more specialized frequencies with specialized antennas or rigs that you make yourself for specific wavelengths, stuff of that nature. And no, it's amazing. And Goy, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that because that's something that I think a lot of these people in here need to know and try to learn and get the understanding of. And starting off with the Baofang, I've been told by a whole bunch of hams, ah, fuck that bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Some people can't afford a big rig. I was gifted one, and I'm like more than exuberant happy on that. But at the same time, if you just start off with a $20 Baofang, you can do some incredible things with that. With
Oh yeah.
just upgrading your antenna and modifying a couple things.
There's no
But
better way to spend $20 if you're getting into, you know, the comms game.
Well, even if I
dude,
had
is
like
there
the
an
best
alien
equipment,
on your head?
my daughter, she
Oh,
wants to have a story read to her, so I'm gonna go in a minute here. But even
I
if I
thought I
had like,
saw the alien face hugger on your head doing this. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm sorry.
no, it's good. So even if I had like $1 million rig, the best radio in the world, I still want to have like they have a 6 pack of Baofangs for like $120. And look, when everything goes down, and let's say you're handing out Mosin Nagants and high points to all your neighbors, give them a Baofang, stay in contact around your block, if you're setting up a roadblock or something like that, or even in like cases of emergencies like hurricanes and stuff like that, why not spend $300 and have like 15 Baofangs and hand them out to your neighbors, and already have the channels pre-programmed into them. You only have to
Yeah.
do the program once with Chirp, and then you just plug it into your radio, and you're all good. So
Oh,
I just think it's a valuable tool, even if you had the best equipment. They're disposable almost. You just give them out, and you can talk with up to even 13 miles. But in most neighborhoods, you're going to get a mile range or something like that.
I will quote the famous Durgan Smershly and say, the reason that I need what I have, I won't say what he was talking about at the time. The reason I have what I have is for my army, my homeless person army. So you could
Right.
build as many, ARs and Glocks and, whatever you want, and just remember to, prepare them for your homeless person army. Blue sticks. I wake up at 6 to 6:30 each morning, and I usually go to bed between 2 and 3. So I sleep for 3 to 4 hours a night, and usually don't push myself to like the 5 to 6 hours of sleep until I start seeing little specks that look like bugs and getting paranoid and you know falling asleep standing up and stuff like that. But it's all good. That's why we do this.
Hey, Goy. No, I'm not going to pass out Balafangs and high points to my neighbors. If I use a high point, it's going to go into my antenna relay, and I'll pass on sharp sticks to my neighbors. I
Well, just
rather
remember
something
that.
that I'd rather something they can actually use.
You know what? Everyone talks shit about high points. My uncle has a high point 45. That thing cycles super reliably, and it's smooth to shoot because it's so big. It's like
Yeah,
it feels
I
good to
feel
shoot.
like Desert
And
Eagle.
and hey, I mean, there's something to be said about $125 gun. You can bury them. I think of high points as the gun that you bury to get your other guns back.
Dude,
Hmm.
I know a lot of people, honestly, who have high points, and I've shot them, years ago, and I still give them shit for it. Give them shit for it. But at the end of the day, they are still running and they're still reliable, and I don't think they've ever had a failure to feed or eject, and I don't think they've ever been cleaned. But I would rather be able to be in my first world position and talk shit about a high point, and also say that I think the government should get out welfare guns and they should be high points. Also,
Well, we
So
got
everybody should have
Obama
a
phones.
gun.
I'll
Yeah,
agree and I'll
the
disagree.
Obama gun, which is a high point.
I'll take a welfare gun instead of a stimmy. Um, Joe Morris just said Caltech PF9. Let me just start by saying Caltech is polarizing. Okay, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't mess
Don't
with
you talk shit
Caltech."
about Caltech, dude.
I
Don't you say
am
bad thing about
die.
Caltech right now.
No, I am die mother effing hard Caltech fan all day. I
Okay,
have
good.
carried a PF9, a P11. I had a P40 when I was a kid, when 40 caliber existed. I had several P3ATs, a CMR. Let me stop. This was all in Minecraft, right? I mean,
Wait,
like,
what was James Reeves's first gun? It wasn't Caltech.
it was a Ruger P94.
Okay, P94 when he was like 15 years old.
Oh, dude, no,
Okay.
Joe. I love the PF9. The PF9 was like the first tiny single stack 9 millimeter that barks like a freaking dog in your hand. Yeah, I just sent him my email and I said I told him to download the Discord app and then also to email me and I'll get him in Discord. Um,
Hey, you sent Goy my personal contact info, right?
I did not. I only sent him your blood type
No,
and
send him my personal number. I'm fine with that.
oh, I sent.
Nice.
Don't send the address.
I don't need an address.
I'm just
No,
kidding.
no.
If you have a
No
PO box,
address.
if you have
Whoopsie.
a
I don't
PO
have a
box, I'll
PO
send you
box.
some cool stuff.
Well,
I'll give away.
I'll send it to my Joe Biden neighbor down the street. But
honestly,
no, send him my
like,
phone number. I'll be fine with that. I'll talk to him over the phone, and we'll go from
like
there.
I shared before, I was gonna get the PO box, which is almost $90 for 6 months, and I didn't put my yeah, no, the PMR and CMR setup is hard to beat. It's and Walter, I want to understand your question as far as what model, what did you mean by that? But just by what you guys contributed tonight, we'll be able to get the PO box. I mean, and know how it works. Like YouTube won't send money for like 120 days, right? But it'll be able to fill the hole that once held my money. So thank you guys. Thank you all.
Hey, Dark, got a question. Is Grantham still a viable option, or are we
I
past
haven't
that point?
I
Or
haven't
because
gotten a
I know
response.
that was a legitimate thing that we were going to have on.
I still
And
haven't gotten a response from him. Even when we were still doing this with Dugan, I still hadn't gotten a response from him. But Pacone is in communication with him too, so maybe I mean we still very likely could get him on. We have some other good guests for the future as well. So
I
obviously,
just want to bring up I have a gentleman who's a guest. Fingers crossed, and I know this gentleman personally. Um, he has a an ag business where he's growing like super rare, random, tropical and subtropical plants and fruits, and basically everything's edible for the most part. But this gentleman has been around the world and has done a lot of awesome and crazy things. And I messaged out to him, and he's like, "Man, I don't do interviews very well. I can just talk on camera." I'm like, "It's not an interview. It's more or less a chat between people, and then kind of digging a little bit more on what people can do and things to look out for to be able to grow your own crops here or there, and then maybe even talking a little bit about society, whatever it is, just like we typically do. But we don't want to interview, just like Goy, we don't want to interview you. We want to be able to talk to people and let things come up as they come, And Goy, straight up, dude, you had a whole PowerPoint presentation on your side that you presented to us. And, sorry for cutting you off from time to time. And it wasn't for being rude. It was because a lot of people don't understand. And when I don't know something, obviously I know a lot of other people won't understand this certain point either, but just trying to expand upon the knowledge base and get them to see more into it, and help out what you're saying too. So I love you, brother, man. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And I'm gonna have to go
Yeah,
rewatch the parts that I couldn't see.
yeah. No, I love you guys too. I love the message. I love what you're doing. It's great. Two things. I get to name the the video, right?
No,
So I
you
want
son
to.
of a
Nope, not
bitch! You're
anymore.
not supposed to
Not
say it.
anymore.
No, you
I'm
ruined
just
it.
kidding.
You
I'm just kidding.
ruined it. You can't ask for that.
We, you can name it.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead,
I
brother.
think it would be appropriate to name it Chai Com Comms.
Oh, that's good. Chai Com
Uh,
Com.
you're gonna have to spell it out to Dark because he's illiterate. And
He's
he's
not
gonna have to.
CRS.
Oh, don't, dude!
Dang.
Come on, man. I love Matt. I love
Hey, dude,
Matt,
he brought
man.
me to your channel. I love his channel. He knows a lot about guns and can't spell for
No,
shit, but I love
hey,
that guy.
I have no problem people busting each other's balls, but when it comes down to somebody telling them to hurt themselves or making comments or threats on lives, that's not anything what we're about. And Dugan might not be a part of us anymore, but that is still not the message he ever promoted. So at the end of the day, if you're going to be about that shit, stay the hell away from us. And if you just want to talk shit, no problem. Go ahead. But allow the grown folks to try to learn something and discuss shit and act like children in the meantime. But no, brother. Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. And no,
Speaking,
thank you for coming our way. And I appreciate the hell out of it.
hell yeah,
And
man.
like I
And this is
said,
your
Dark,
second time around.
send my info over to him, and please say it again so Dark can write it down with a
Chai
pencil.
Com Coms. Come
How do
on,
you spell?
man.
How do you spell it?
ChiComComms. Right?
He's looking funny. You spelt it wrong, you illiterate bastard.
Hey, man, I almost got my diploma. No, guys, speaking of contributions, I just wanted to throw this back out there. Walter, Blue Sticks, TM, we love you, TM. Bacon, and I can't go back, guys, because when somebody super chats, we can only see it for that short period of time. Somebody threw up a sticker for 762. I love how it's like 223-762-556. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Also, for sure, brother. I love you. Somebody from CATI Armor finally reached out to me.
You're
Finally.
shitting me. You're
Swear to
shitting
God.
me.
Swear to God. And then I responded to them, and they didn't reach back out to me yet. So, but I mean, literally, he hit me up on Instagram and was like, "Hey, you sent us a bunch of orders," and I was basically like, "Yeah, what I'd like to do is set up an arrangement to where we can give away a set of plates each month to our community." And I didn't hear anything back. So, just know that we're doing it for you guys. We love you.
Doug brought up the Hollow Sun thing, and literally, I thought he was genuinely interested in it, and I reached out to them, and I told Doug about it, and then when I got the email, he was like, "That's gay. I'm not doing it." Okay, no problem. And that's where, as far as it went. And then I got another email saying, "Hey, this person's going to take over," and I sent the screenshot over to Doug, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna reply back, hey, we're gonna do some fucked up ass shit, and blah blah blah. It was all in humor, and this was during the turmoil period, but it was all in jest. And no, I understood exactly what he was saying, and I used his name out of context, but I genuinely thought he'd be interested in, doing something along those lines. I'm never reaching out to anybody again for, shilling or anything else like that. I don't give a fuck. I was hoping to maybe get some free optics and pass them around, the group and, subscribers and shit, but I don't give a fuck. But if we could do something like CATI and they'd be genuinely willing to pass out some fucking armor and shit like that where we don't have to shill for them, they're just saying, oh, dude, fucking here's some shit to pass on to these other people and pass out our name. It's not shilling. We're not making anything. And, I don't know. End of the day, I just want to be able to help people out.
Yeah, I mean,
And if we can pass out the message and expand upon it, it is what it is. But
here's the thing. Here's what I'll say, because I know that there's always going to be controversy with the point that we're at. So I'll say this: if we're able to, like, we were able to, for a lot of people in the community, say there are a shitload of people that need armor. Here's a place to get armor for $100 fucking dollars. So they got it, right? We were able to help them. Now, when it's not selling out, right? If we start selling manscaping ball shavers and fucking organic soap, and we're fucking, like saying, like, this episode is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends, then you know that we've gone somewhere extra. Everything that we do.
And you won't see me anymore.
You ain't gonna see me anymore.
Talking to you, Brandon Herrera.
Yeah.
Real men don't shave their junk. Quit wearing Affliction t-shirts and cargo pants. Pissing me off.
Dugan says the 50 BMG is most efficient. Wish I could fire one off every episode, but I'm always going to be here watching and listening. I love you guys. Yeah, we love y'all too, man. I know there's always going to be some type of give and take, right? Like, there's no way. We love you too, Matthew Telhart. And the knives should be here any day. So I know we're a little bit behind on our first giveaway, our first annual monthly giveaway. But all the shit we're doing for you guys, man. And
hey, quickly about Keltec. I just wanted to let people know. I've got a SU-16 in the family, and that thing gets like 5 MOA. But the cool thing about it is that it cycles every time. It's piston driven, so it folds up like to the size of like a teacup. Yeah. I mean, if you want something to like get you out of trouble, like here in California, I can't have anything other than a 10-round mag anyway in the car. So you might as well have. Well, I took advantage of Freedom Week. So
you can take 2 more 10-rounders and stick them in the stock.
That's what I got. Yeah. And if I to talk about Keltec, I think they make really interesting designs, but then I think like once they make it, they don't like further develop it to like make it perfect. They just move on to another gun. I can tell you this: I really want a sub 2000 for like a backpack gun. I think that's rad. And I really like if you're talking about like a home defense shotgun where you're not planning on reloading, that KSG is a mad lad. I mean, you have to be a man to rack it. Like the people that have problem cycling, I happen to know for a fact they're just not pumping it hard enough.
Yep.
Yeah, they're short stroking it. You have to like really manhandle that thing. But frickin' 18, 20 rounds, like whatever you get in that thing, if you can't do it in that.
+1. I think it's 72 +1 in the pipe. Hold on,
really quick. They have a longer barrel one.
Hey, Goy, let me ask you a question. You know what a trench shotgun is, right?
Oh, yeah. Which one? The Winchester?
Right,
18...
that's where you can slam fire it, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if the KSG was slam fire.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So get
That
this.
would be awesome.
So even though whatever I get shit on for, that's why I don't have firearms hung up behind me anymore. The Ameriflage shotgun, you can slam fire that. That thing is badass. Just saying. All right, gents. We have any closing comments? I was just gonna say I used to have. I've gone through 2 sub 2000s. If I didn't have this, because I can't show anything on live stream, if I didn't have this, and if you know what this is, then you know what this is. It goes to something, and it rhymes with a porpian. No, it's porpian lower receiver.
I want one so bad.
And honestly,
I want a sub 2K, man.
if I didn't have the Scorpion, I would have no problem getting a sub 2000. But a Scorpion with a binary trigger and a freaking can on it is like, I literally have the Czechoslovakian MP5 right here, and I love it. All right, brother, go take care of your family. Anyone have any closing remarks?
Well, I can say all this, not this stream, but some of the black pill stuff. Guys, don't have fear. Raise godly children. I'm not talking about going to church. I'm talking about being a good daddy. Teach them about God. Let them know that there's going to be hard times ahead. Let your kids get cold and tired, and let them feel pain. Don't let them get fat. It's not because it's so bad to be fat, although it is. It's like you want them to have the self-esteem to be able to do pull-ups, to not get made fun of in school if you choose to take them to school. But if you can, homeschool your kids, be self-sufficient. Like, it's not always just the bad news. The good news is that not only did Jesus Christ die for our sins, but really you don't have to live in fear. You can just make you a better person, and no one has a crystal ball. We don't know when all of this is going to come down. Everyone dies, right? And so what I'm saying is, please, guys, don't live in fear. Don't sit here and worry about the Federal Reserve. Don't sit here and worry about who's running this country. Just be a good dad. Be there for your kids. Train them up and train them to be responsible, dangerous people. It'll go a long way.
Hey, Goy, just to give you heads up, we're all fathers here, and I'm going to say something to the chat that I don't think I said earlier. My daughter's 5th birthday was a couple of days ago, and I saved up fucking money to be able to rent a boat, because that's what my daughter wanted. She wanted to go on a boat for her birthday. She didn't get any gifts. We got her a cake and some balloons and stuff. Her gift was going on the boat and driving the boat and us parking on a freaking island on the Gulf side and us being able to be pirates with some plastic pirate swords and playing around and playing in the water and catching some horseshoe crabs that were going to die on the beach. And we brought them back into the water for them to be able to go off and live again. My kids,
hell yeah.
I've never been a fan. Christmas, holidays, birthdays, it's not about giving gifts. It's about giving memories. And every fucking nickel and dime that you're going to spend on buying all this frivolous shit that's going to get thrown away or put away into a closet in a week, how about you add all that up and find something that you can do to be able to rent a boat or do something stupid where your kids can go off into the woods or in the water or this or that, where they develop actual memories and they can see things and do things for themselves. That's the biggest thing that I'm a contributor for. All my
Yeah.
kids have electronics, but guess what they do all throughout the damn day? They're not on electronics. They're outside playing in my backyard, digging up bugs and snails and grubs and centipedes and catching lizards and running
Peeing,
around. And
peeing on
that's
the
what it
street. Yeah,
is. Yeah, getting muddy, getting dirty, and they're not afraid of it. When my brother's son was here, my nephew, he got his feet dirty. And he kept on trying to go to the floor room to go inside the house. And my feet are dirty. I need to clean them. Like, oh, hell no. Get the hell out there. My brother's like, oh, he doesn't like his feet dirty. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. This is Florida. I have a good backyard. Get dirty. My brother was like, I'm backing off. I'm going to let, your uncle fucking handle this shit. Half an hour later, the kid that was afraid of his feet being dirty is covered in mud and slinging it and loving it. And he didn't want to get out of the dirt. This is what
yeah.
kids need. They don't need
A different
electronics.
level. They need
That's
to
going
get
to
out of that
ruin them.
program.
Exactly. Break the program, break the paradigm. This is the paradigm shift on getting them back into nature. Kids eating fucking dirt is how they don't get sick in the first place. It sucks watching your kids eat dirt straight up, but it is what it is. I grew up eating dirt. I didn't get sick too much. Now I don't eat dirt and I get sick.
No, the problem is you ate dirt and now you're sick. I'm just kidding.
Teach them honor. That's the most that you can do. Let them see how you conduct yourself with other people. Teach them how to be honorable and
Exactly.
teach them about their freedoms, even though they don't have them. Tell them what we used to have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Teach them a constitution. Teach them, integrity, transparency, doing the right thing, saying the right things.
I don't own any firearms, but I tell you right now, when the doctors and the schools ask, because guess what? The schools ask and the doctors ask, do you guys have firearms? We don't. I don't own any firearms. And my kids know that also. We got some pellet guns and BB guns. It is what it is. But my kids will never have to worry about any kind of issues in the future.
I'll end on this. If you're dealing with mental health issues, just remember that it's no state of mental health to be well adjusted to a truly sick society. So, just do you guys. Be good. Go with honor, fellas. I love y'all. I'll talk to you later.
Love you too, brother.
Love you. Be safe, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Dark, give me a shout.
Yeah, man.
Give me a shout after this. Fucking close it up and give me a shout because I'm going to go to bed. So wrap this bitch up. I'm leaving. And make sure you send my contact info to him, where I'll tell you that on the phone. I'll
do that. Yep. Peace, brother. And Fairchild's, just so you know, ew, don't do that. Fairchild's, just so you know, I sent you the Discord link, and then I sent you the I should do the blue light for this, shouldn't I? Damn, what the fuck? I sent you the link for the armor. The price went up. It was like $159, and then it went down to $135, and then it went down to $119, then it went down to $101. And then I sent the link out that night, and it literally sold out that day. And now it's back up to $119. The Baofangs that were $19.99, they are currently $23.99. And guys, like I said, we're not getting anything from this. Yeah, brother, for sure. Tell them, send a message, because I want to overwhelm them. When you buy it, send a message. I even have people sending screenshots of my face, in the stream. Say DLD sent you. No, that curve is no gimmick. That shit is so legit. So yeah, say Darklight Dugan sent you, because we still want to get their attention. If I can get at least one or maybe two, oh goy, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. how are you gonna pay the channel for coming on the channel? Thank you, brother. Love you, man. Um, the multi-curve, the quad curve and that shit is no joke, dude. It makes them so much more comfortable. And we want Light's shirt in the next gift package signed. Yeah, guys, if you want shit, dude, okay, so I'll tell you this. I have a super crazy expensive level 4 rig, and I have the $100 level 3 CATI plates, and I choose those every time. I've literally worn them 10 hours concealed and did not have 1 minute uncomfortable. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, and the torture tests are nuts. Like, and just watching people dump mag after mag after mag of green tips of XM193, M855. Like, they're tough as shit, man. Good plates. Yeah, that's right. You got them too. Yeah, dude, a bunch of people got them, man. Shout them out on Instagram too. Just do at CATI Armor and be like, Darklight Dugan sent us. Ceramic may be better protection, but it only lasts 5 years. Fuck that. Yeah, I mean, that's why I got the level 4 ceramics with the level 3 soft armor behind it. And I got the level 3 steel because I want to be able to throw one on someone else if needed, but they're also used for different applications, you know? So I got the link for the Baofang, and I am sending that shit. Who asked for it? I'll go back. I got an email for it. So I will send you this link for the Baofang. If anyone else wants a link for the Baofang, like I said, they are currently $23.99. It comes with the whole kit. It comes with the battery, the earpiece, the earpiece with the plug, the everything, charger, and all that shit. Yeah, I saw that he was doing videos on armor. Do you know what company it is? Okay. Here you go, brother. Boom. Boom. All right, I just sent you the Baofeng link. Damn, Fairchilds, I'm sending you like 5 links tonight. It's because I love you. All right, hold up. Boom, boom. Baofeng. Bow. I mean, think about that though. For like $150, you got. Oh no, CATI is rated up to 308, 762 by 51, 556. It's straight up level 3 hard armor. They've even defeated XM193 out of a 20-inch barrel, which I've seen punch through AR500 brand plates. I just sent you the Baofeng link. You got Hesco 3+ ceramic plates. Damn. Okay, so guys, if you're like balling out of control and, obviously like, money is just part of the current world that we fucking live in, so whatever. But if money is not an issue to you at all, there is new armor that is flexible rifle armor. It fits like level 3A. It looks and feels like level 3A, but that shit is rated up to a straight up level 3 rifle threat. It's from Safe Light. It is a concealable vest. You can also wear it outside. You're, straight up like plate carrier, and that shit is $1,450. Spend it now. It will not exist in 2023. Yeah, what I always say when I send out the link is buy it now before it's an NFA item. Yeah, no, I'm the same way, Blue Sticks. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to holler at Light and Oh, and radio link. Yep, I got you, brother. Olight. Light said make sure that y'all support Olight as well because they're a great company. I personally, and I'm not going to shit on Olight because they're a great um, great company that's been up and coming for a while now. The only issue with Olight, in my opinion, is that there's not a lot of gear that matches them, matches their stuff, right? So, guys, also give a big thank you to Sport Brand and Matthew Telhart, our two first moderators for our channel. Yay! Thank you, guys. And Matthew Telhart, thank you for everything you've done. Blue Sticks, that's the biggest fucking super chat that we've ever gotten. I love you, brother. Thank you. Level 4 is the way to go. Yep. So I got level 4 sappy plates and level 3A soft armor behind it. I like if I could rock the level 3 hard plates all day every day, I would. But with what I do professionally, I would be outed. Yeah, glowies all day, every day. And just remember to take care of each other, man, whether in this community or out in the real world. And we're all here for a reason to love each other, be compassionate, take care of each other. All this shit about the boog and preparing, it can get dark, it can get grim, and it's just for preparation and preservation. Don't live in that place. Just visit it. Okay. Glowies for life. All right. Anyone have any closing comments before I get out of here? Yeah, and another thank you to Matthew Telhart for everything you've been doing for the channel with I mean literally banging a hammer and making fucking knives in your backyard. Like, dude, they're beautiful. Like I'm stoked. Also, Sport Brand. I don't know if you know this, but Matthew Telhart right now is making you a knife for getting that samurai question correct. All right. Anything else before we bounce? Sorry, there's like a 15-second. Besides plates, get a trauma kit. Guns are great, but holes suck. Yeah, you got to get medical for sure. I'll watch you guys back. The average population, not so much. I do, and I'm hyped as fuck. Hell yeah. Sport Brand. I also talked to Matthew about that thing we talked about the Valley of the Knives or whatever, the something stand. We may be able to get together on that. Yeah, and you gotta train, you gotta like actually get professional training, take stop the bleed classes, take, like anything that you can do to prepare for the worst case scenario, right? It's not what anyone wants, but it's the reality of where we may go. And, keep it as insurance. It's pokey Stan. It's something that you like hope and pray that you never have to use. Yeah, if you're even thinking about getting armor, like I'm seeing all those comments, CATI is the way to go. It's literally like $100 and it's on your doorstep in 3 days. Like, get it before you got to get a fucking tax stamp to get it. I mean, if they did that, think about that, and I believe that they would. If you had to get a $200 tax stamp to buy armor, like how expensive do you think that shit would be? I think that's where we're headed. All right, y'all. Thank you for everything. I love y'all. And glowies for life. Go crack a blue chem light, crack a bottle, a beer, something, and just kick it. All right, y'all. Be safe. Be dangerous. Later.